And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the J.Gray Podcast. This one sponsored by Union Mezcal. Huge thank you to Matt. Both the Matts joining me today. We got Matt Nichols and Matt Stuntman Hastings. Gentlemen, welcome.
Morning. How's it going? Thanks for having us.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Here's
Boom.
the crack of noon.
At the crack of noon, yeah. Time to drink, folks. Time to drink. Here we go.
Somebody's days off somewhere.
Ooh, it's got to be. All right, so let's start with you, Mr. Nichols. You and I go back over a year now.
Oh, yeah.
I am enjoying the bartending life in Seattle thanks to your tutelage.
Yeah, you're one of my many mentees over the years.
Yeah. First of all, when I
I'm still working on.
How many have, like, what, 5? Like, it's your empire you're building in Seattle now?
I have one good one.
Well, thanks. I think he's the one on your left. You're still working on it.
No, he's not. He never trained under me. He came from completely different background. We worked together. We actually met going to Vegas together.
Yeah.
But we worked together. We've wanted to work together, I think, for years, though. Probably 5 or 6 years. We wanted to bartend next to each other.
Gotcha.
But no, you trained me. You took over for me when I was down medical.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like,
he lost a nut.
the brakes.
I had to replace him when he had a nut replacement.
Damn.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Starboard.
Starboard, yeah.
Starboard, okay.
Yeah, right side.
Ouch. So some say we're half a man, but I don't think that's true.
No, mine are bigger than it's the one still. Like, it took over.
It took over.
He also came back a little bit more of a man in the hair department because after chemo you came back with a lot more hair, right?
No, it was just darker and it looked like there was more. But once the color faded, it was like, no, this is the same amount of knot hair.
Your body just kind of moved your pube thicket upwards.
Yeah. Well, the beard came back dark. You remember that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Dang.
It's a hell of a drug.
Do me a favor. Let's have you take the mic off the stand so people can hear you better. Yeah, slide it out. You're going to have to be the hand holder for a bit.
All right, we can do that.
All right, cool. So I've been busy, folks. Obviously, haven't had a podcast episode in 2 months because the last 3 months I had 3 jobs. And it was really stretching me thin, but one of those jobs was Mixer Matchups Race to E3. I had an opportunity to be a contractor, producer, and host for Microsoft for Mixer. Had a lot of fun. We put on a great tournament. But now I'm back and hopefully going to do a lot more content out of my own garage here. But I have to say, Matt, you and I made this deal. I said, I'm going to start a podcast out of my garage. I'm going to have you be on one of the episodes, and here we are. But we're going to talk about all sorts of nerdy shit, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's what we talked about when we worked together. That's all we talked about behind the bar is nerd stuff.
Yeah. Well, currently, where are you guys working at? And Mr. Hastings, I'll let you talk first. Where are you working at? Tell me about the bar and what the bar life is in Seattle at the moment.
Oh, man. Well, we're both working at Screwdriver Bar in Seattle in Belltown, first between Bell and Battery. And, God, I've been there since before the beginning. We brought Matt in to cover for me when I had to go out for medical.
I had a couple of step-ins before that. Like, that was one of the most flattering things ever is Jones kind of went after me at the soft opening, was like, you're going to work here, get comfortable. And I was like, oh, yeah. Hell yeah, I am.
Oh, cool.
But bar life in Seattle, industry in Seattle is easily one of the closest, tightest knit groups that I've encountered. And I know it's like that in a lot of cities, but Seattle especially. Down in Belltown, we know everybody that works at every bar, and that is probably 75% of our customer base is other industry people. And it's not bars, it's bars, restaurants, whoever's down there. You keep a face for, and we always look out for each other, and that's the heart of Seattle industry, I think, in the bar life.
I'd agree to that. I mean, I was brand new just to all of bartending to begin with. The last time I ever worked in an industry job was Dairy Queen as a teenager. And being an actor or performer in LA for almost a decade, I tell myself I lucked out, but honestly, I probably should have learned how to bartend and do some other gigs in LA. But I had so many contract jobs or full-time jobs working at studios I didn't need to, monetarily wise. But when you work in the video game world, not a lot of women. And I really wish I could have met more women bartending in LA, as shallow and crass as that sounds. No, it's true. I think one of the greatest aspects that I love about bartending is knowing people, knowing humans, and also the amount of bullshit you don't want to deal with when it comes to humans and people. And I think that kind of helps, in some essence, be, some people say, more curt in my communication. Like, oh, why did you have to say it that way? It's like, because it was the most efficient way to say it. And when you're doing 15 things at once, it kind of helps you in that communication. Like, oh, what's the most efficient way that I can say this, and then move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah, take the volume level of the place up a notch too. Like, you get into the venue and the nightclub scene, and that idea of like when the same customer comes and asks you the same question, we got a line of people that all ask you the same question. At a certain point, the 15th time you have to answer the same question. All this information's here on the menu here. Why don't you go ahead and take a look before you show up at the bar?
What's your favorite drink to make? It's a beer and a shot.
Yeah, I'm moving liquid from one place to another. I don't have a favorite version of that.
Yeah.
Like this is my favorite glass to pour booze into.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite glass. So it's just drink, guys. Come on.
Just drink, yeah. Or how about when somebody asks you about a rosé?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about your rosés.
Yeah. Anytime somebody says
sparkling
that,
or flat.
Yeah, exactly. When somebody says, tell me about your happy hour rosé, I just want name 3 rosés. That's a challenge. Name 3 rosés. I'll tell you what mine is. Like nobody knows any rosés. They know like the 3 that they've seen at whatever Safeway or QVC.
Yeah, 3 at Safeway.
And we don't have any of those.
Yeah, we don't
ours rotate in and out pretty frequently.
This is called off premise or on premise.
Yeah. But I got a question for you. You said you were in LA. Acting, doing gigs like that and whatnot. Did you ever play a bartender before being a bartender?
No,
you didn't stand there and just wipe a glass with a towel?
No. God damn it, bartenders in movies and TV shows, it's like, get the fuck off. Bullshit.
Did you flip a towel onto your shoulder?
Yeah. Oh my God, no. In LA, I played. I've been a doctor, a bisexual murderer, a cop, an FBI agent.
Let's back up to the bisexual.
Yes.
Did you murder bisexual people, or were you bisexual?
I was the bisexual, and I was murdering.
There you go.
Both males and females.
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity murderer. Yeah, that was a show on Investigation Discovery. It was called Single White Male. So if you want to look that one up, it's cringeworthy. No, it was one of those. It was one of those shows where it's a docudrama. So like the script's not even that much dialogue. It's like, and you walk into this house and you have a gun and you point the gun and then you take your belt off. I'm like, okay, so let's do it. Then you rehearse it twice and then you shoot it once. And like, you took your belt off too fast. Like it's very, I don't want to say unprofessional. It's just loose. It's loose. It's not like,
not a lot of direction.
Not a lot of direction. Yeah.
I do have a funny idea though. Like, at a certain point when Mortal Kombat evolves to where you get to design your own avatar to fight with, your bisexual murderer character should be your character.
That's right. That's right. The bisexual fatality or whatever we're going to call it. I don't know.
And a whip is going to be your weapon. You just wear as a belt.
Just a belt. Yeah. Just a belt. Yeah. Take it off.
Your weapon is a credit card.
and a sense of entitlement.
Bro, I've been fatalitied by credit cards for like the last decade, okay? I'm waiting on my last check from the Mixer gig, and then I'll pay off my last credit card.
Oh, that's got to be exciting.
Ever. I have a question. So excited for that. Yeah.
You sent me a text when you got the free download for Cyberpunk. Was that you that shouted at Keanu?
No, that was not me that shouted at Keanu.
Okay. Damn it, I almost met a celebrity.
Yeah, because I'm not an asshole, and I don't heckle people like Keanu.
In the text that you sent to me, he said I was breathtaking.
Yes, because he said, you are all breathtaking, and I was in that room.
I know you were in the room.
Yeah.
I just thought that was you that shouted.
No, it wasn't me.
You're too professional to shout at him
It wasn't me, yeah.
Because you were hosting stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I would be too professional to do that, but man, lost in a moment of just like up there, I don't know.
But it was a great, the thing is, it was such a great moment though, too. Like it was so organic. And being in that room, and one, I'm friends with the CD Projekt Red guys because I produced and hosted some stuff for them back in the past, right? Mm-hmm. And seeing them and how excited they were, and they're like, hey, are you going to be at the Xbox presentation? I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. Good. And that's it. That's all they said. I had no idea what was going to happen. So when he shows up as Johnny Silverhand at the end of the trailer, which is a famous character in the Cyberpunk games, and then he came out on stage, that was one of the most electrifying moments of my entire life.
Oh, that's got to be.
It was fun to watch on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. So being in that moment and being surprised, and then him having that great presentation, and then that guy shouting that out, "You're breathtaking!" And it's like, "Oh, you're breathtaking!"
And him and his most Keanu of benevolence.
Absolutely.
The world on fire right now, man. Everybody loves him so much.
The world needs more people like him. He's the peaceful warrior. But he's been through a lot. If you look at his past, fortunate relationship with his father, the ex-girlfriend that he had that passed away. They had
describing his role in Parenthood,
the child.
Maybe it's just because of the motivation to John Wick, and we'll segue into this. John Wick 3 is one of the best action movies of all time. But the premise of John Wick of having lost something that defined his new life and then going back to his old life, you're like, well, Keanu's gone through some loss. So from an actor's perspective of like, he's really pulling from this sadness and this loss that he went through. And I think that's why so many people have great empathy to Keanu, because he has great empathy. He's capable of great empathy because he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
And hell, he did Point Break, bro. I mean, to have this type of career where he is in his age, like I could only wish to have the career and the presence of somebody like Keanu. Right?
And the self-awareness of just he's living in his moment, and he's like, once you've loved someone that much and then you lose them, that's kind of it for me. And he's just being a goddamn great person.
Yeah.
And it's boggling to the mind to see someone of that stature.
I would love to be in that world and not be on social media. I don't think he has an Instagram or a Twitter or any of that stuff. He's got his motorcycle company.
Just the motorcycle stuff, I think, is the only thing he puts out on social media. Everything else is everybody else. Like, I mean, him being super nice to all of his adoring fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of his since the very beginning. Like, I remember seeing him in the movie Parenthood, the early Ron Howard stuff, and was like, this guy kind of shines on camera. And then seeing the first Bill and Ted movie, like, yeah, this guy's kind of... I feel like in the first Bill and Ted, he was a little bit secondary to Bill, Bill's character. Kind of like the stepmom being Bill's stepmom, and whatever, the dad part of it, the military school thing, I guess, was his kind of shining part of the first movie. But that he owns it. Like, he just pops on camera. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah, it's incredible to see where he's ended up, and also how much professionalism he puts into his roles when he trains for John Wick and all the training that we've seen him. So you have not seen John Wick 3.
No, I'm still trying to figure out what those coins' actual dollar value is.
$5,000 per coin.
Is that what it is?
Just about. Yeah, okay. I saw some math on the intrawebs that was trying to break that down.
So the
that's house a little disappointing. I was hoping there were a lot more.
What's their code for cleaning up dead bodies?
I think it's one. It's what, 1 coin or 2 coins.
It's like 1 coin per body, because the first time he does it is at his house with 12 coins. He has 12 bodies, and the guy shows up at his house. The guy from The Crow shows up at his house.
The Crow.
Yeah, he was one of the villains from The Crow.
Yeah, that's right, dude. Deep cuts, folks.
Yeah. I watch a lot of TV.
This is some deep cuts here today. Have you seen John Wick 3?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, made sure. And God damn it, fantastic.
What a ride.
As someone who, humble brag, amateur stunt person, knows what that takes to see what he's doing is beyond kind of belief, especially at that age. But the choreography for the Wick movies, all across the board, it is the story itself. And whereas a lot of movies you see, it's just a fight to happen, theirs has a footprint from start to finish, and you can see it. Like, they worked that out. And this one just blew me away, especially with the use of the actual trained dogs. And I'm not sure the breed and what they're called, but god damn, that was just amazing to watch unfold.
And the choreography, this is such a stark contrast in comparison to the Bourne Identity trilogy, because it was so shaky cam, fast shots. It was cool action. It was a cool stylistic choice. But as soon as those movies came out, everything became like that. Fast cuts. The artistry of choreography, the artistry of martial arts I like Meryl Streep, but I disagree with her. She's like, martial arts are not the arts. Like, when you can move your body in a way that you have to time it just right in order to strike a blow, you're in a different realm.
Dude, the elevator scene in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a blend of those two styles, where it's like crazy choreographed, but also kind of a shaky cam because of the closed environment. But that is, hands down, to me, that's at least in the top 10 years, that's probably one of the best action scenes I think I've ever seen.
Because the tension is so good,
that build up to it too. Like,
if anybody wants to leave,
if anybody wants to get out,
yeah.
And also, you've seen Endgame, I assume, and just kind of the callback to that too, where you just like, I don't want to fight.
I was stoked again. I was just like, yes, again,
Yeah.
I'll see it, and then it was like, okay, god damn it, well done.
Yeah, it was smart, right?
Yeah.
It was smart,
Yeah.
and it just kind of showed too the evolution of Captain America.
We have to make sure to not talk too much about Spider-Man until we give the heads up on spoilers.
Too, we will. We will. No worries.
Stay away from Spider-Man for a minute.
And not to spoil John Wick, but there's going to be a John Wick 4.
Oh,
and when
there
that
has to be a John
when
Wick
that
4.
happened, and we're not going to spoil it, but when that happened at the end, I was like, if you could have gone back in 1999 and told me, hey, don't worry, the world may be going to shit, but you're going to see these guys on camera again, I would have been so elated as a nerd back then for The Matrix.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And watching Lawrence Fishburne give the intro to Keanu Reeves for his Hollywood Walk of Fame was so cool. I mean, just to see where these guys have gone in their careers, but the lasting friendship and professional friendship that they've made over a film that really defined the not just sci-fi genre but the martial arts genre into the 2000s. Just amazing that they're just redefining it again with this action film with the John Wick series. So see John Wick 3, it's totally worth it, man.
It's the same group of guys that basically like redefined photography for that style of action.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good.
But the little Easter eggs, not like the guys from the raid.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fucking cool to see, and there's a little nod.
Yeah.
It's a nod. I was like, oh. But man, do we ever get to see? Do you think we get to see his act that got him out, or is it just going to be that?
The big myth, like the early on one with
what he did to get out.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool intro to number 4. Be like. Yeah, what was this big mission? Because they talk about that in the second one.
Yeah.
They had to do this big thing to get out, and he had the token with the other guy. And consequences. Consequences of choices.
I think that's what we're going to see with Black Widow. Is the Budapest, the nod to Budapest.
This is in Budapest.
That her and Hawkeye have.
Yeah.
True, man. Deep cuts again. Well, when you are able to create these type of stories too, it's like, okay, well, we got to make another one. What can we do? And you kind of look for the little kernels or little seeds that you've planted in that previous film, and you try to build from that. But whenever you go forward, it's better to have roots that grow deeper at the same time, which is why a lot of these films, especially in the third film, you'll have that flashback scene. Like Lord of the Rings is one of the best examples of this. With Two Towers, you kind of go back and see Gandalf fight against the Balrog with a beautiful scene. And then in Return of the King, you get to see how Smeagol became Golem and really make those roots deep, so when you're finally getting to the conclusion, you don't have any really lasting questions. And that happens a little bit too much sometimes for films where they're like, oh, we want to make this into a trilogy, so we're going to plant these little things here and there, and then it peters out and dies, like the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. Oh my God, glad that's over.
Oh, wow,
we're in a new world, but they were trying to plant all the little stuff for the Sinister Six and whatnot. And when you try to plant those things to pay off in a sequel at the detriment of the actual story you're trying to tell, that's when you know the studio's been involved way too much.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make too much money.
This just goes like this is a partnership between casting and writing where like we've talked about this, where like motivation for these characters are just lost. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2, was it Jamie Foxx plays?
Yeah, Electro.
The character that has the weirdest motivation to be a villain ever. Like, I don't understand. Like, you met a guy on the street one day and now you're mad at the world.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that.
Mentally off balance, sure, but it just was like, what are we doing?
To some of our late night conversations after we close the bar, when we talk about like everybody's speculating on what Keanu Reeves is going to do in the MCU. And we've gone miles over this. Like, there's so many characters he could play, and we kind of dusted on the idea that like his version of Doom, I think, might be the best casting choice because
Victor Von Doom, played by Keanu Reeves.
Because the motivation would be likable. He's so likable in the mainstream right now that the best villains are characters that you kind of agree with. It's like when Ed Harris was in The Rock. Like, that's what made The Rock so good. It was Ed Harris was like, you're kind of on this guy's side.
Yeah,
like he's doing these horrible things and. Hero Nick Cage has to, as usual, save the day.
Well, did you guys ever see the movie What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford?
Years ago.
No.
A thriller years ago. This was like early 2000s. But spoilers, it turns out that Harrison Ford was the killer. And you had no idea because it was Harrison Ford, right? They never marketed it that way. In the trailers, he was very honest with Michelle Pfeiffer, like, oh, this woman who you think is a ghost, I had an affair with her years ago, but she died, etc. Then you start to find out that he's the one that killed her. And that turn, it happens in a bathtub, and Michelle Pfeiffer's taking a bath, and he put a chemical in her drink. And so he goes and starts talking to her next to the bath, and he's just like, yeah, I killed her. And he just starts confessing everything, and she can't move, and he's going to kill her too with her muscles being relaxed or whatever in the bathtub. And I remember the audience at that time going, what the fuck? Harrison Ford is a bad guy. Like, they were just freaking out. And it was if you can do that with that story turn, especially if Keanu Reeves...
They should have did that shit to The Notebook. Ryan Gosling should have made her crazy.
Oh man.
Death Notebook. That would have been a fucking amazing
Ooh,
movie.
wow. I heard
I
Death.
also think Keanu could play Reed Richards as well as he could play Doom. Like, I think he could do
Yeah.
either of those characters in the Fantastic Four. And with Hickman coming back to Marvel, I'm going to go nuts on Hickman coming back to Marvel at some point if you want to lead into the Marvel stuff.
Sure.
Jonathan Hickman, his Fantastic Four run with Franklin Richards and how powerful he is, and the what do they call it, the Council of Reeds, like that's that kind of weird ethereal family versus everything, because it's the theory of everything in the Council of Reeds and the Hickman run. We're talking about Doom, adult Franklin Richards or Reed could all be played by Keanu successfully, I think, and him being in the Eternals, I think, is a weird idea.
That's the latest that I've heard. I also heard that he was the boss in Hobbs and Shaw. He's
God bless
Get
that
out.
movie.
I can't
wait for that movie.
I heard that he may be in that as a cameo to play Idris Elba's boss, but they may have cut it or they may have put it back in. Like, this is a rumor that's going around, so I don't know if it's true or not.
Damn.
But if they put him in that franchise,
oh my God.
dude, that trailer played at the beginning of John Wick 3, and I saw that trailer going, my God, this is the summer of action.
He is. Chris Morgan writes those. Chris Morgan is my favorite action trash writer. I love
Action trash.
It's not trash. They're good. Like, obviously they're just turning humans into superheroes without calling them superheroes.
Yep.
And finally they're
Yep.
doing it to Idris Elba's characters, because we've been like since Fast 5. That was the first Chris Morgan Fast movie, was Fast 5.
Yeah.
I like all of them, but a lot of people will say that's when it really
rules
took
are
off.
off the table.
Yeah, like, well, Chris Morgan obviously never cared about the peripheral damage that these guys cause. Like when they're dragging a safe through Brazil in Fast 5, like,
2 safes.
your family
Was it
has
2 safes
killed
at one point?
thousands of people.
Was
like,
it 2 safes at one point, or was it just
yeah, great family. Like, and then at the end of the movie, Vin cuts the same sleeves off the same blue T-shirt or blue denim that I'm wearing and holds the beer wrong.
Yeah, we should cut. You know what? In honor of that, we should take the sleeves off today.
I really value my denim shirts. I gotta pick and choose which ones I cut.
We got it. Yeah, we got to. We'll do it.
He knows. I collect denim on denim.
That's right. We got to do it to bring Vin Diesel back, because I don't know if there's this rivalry, if this is true or not, between The Rock and
I've
Vin
heard miles
Diesel.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah, because The Rock's like, well, I'm gonna come in and take over this franchise because
come in and save your
That's
franchise.
not going to happen. He
Yeah.
can't come over and take over that franchise. Everybody likes The Rock. He's like a hard worker and he's a likable guy, but that's Vinny D's franchise.
It
man.
is.
That's his family.
It is. And The Rock's ex-wife, Danny Garcia, they're one of the best business partnerships in Hollywood. I mean, the whole Jumanji film was pretty much a
That's a
vehicle.
great movie, too.
Yeah, I watched it for the
Shockingly
first
good.
time. Watched it for the first time
really, way
two
better
days
than I
ago.
thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But they have a very, very strong vehicle. You know who else is part of that vehicle is Henry Cavill, and he is on that team as well. And
Really?
this whole negotiations that was happening between Danny Garcia representing Henry Cavill to continue to play Superman and all this other bullshit that was going on is part of the reason some were speculating why he did not appear in Shazam at the end for the cameo. But what really
The
happened
Black
was
Adam cameo that everyone
No.
speculated on, or
well, yeah,
the
but
Superman cameo?
Superman.
it was announced that Rock's going to play Black Adam. So we didn't see
like
the
8 years ago.
Yeah, I know. We didn't see The Rock in it, but there was reference to Black Adam. But the reason why Henry Cavill couldn't make the appearance in Shazam is because Tom Cruise broke his foot during the filming of Mission Impossible 6 that pushed everything back.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily this whole, you're not paying me enough money, so I'm not going to be in Shazam. I don't think anybody would be that stupid to do that negotiation-wise. It was more of it didn't line up because of the schedule, which is a bummer. But Mission Impossible 6 was worth it.
Oh,
That movie was great.
If The Rock can go and work out getting
Cox
into
his
movies
goddamn
like
arms.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the breaking the cast when you just like
Oh no! I'm talking in Mission Impossible. Cavill,
When he reloads his
Cavill
biceps?
is when they're bathroom fight. Yeah, and he's coming out, and it's the second round. He just both of them, and you're just like,
oh, that's so stupid.
that's so
Yeah,
stupid.
the
but
the
goddamn it, it
bathroom
works.
scenes.
It's
Yeah.
great. That bathroom's made of foam mostly. That's how they're able to shoot.
Yeah.
And
What's the
do all
movie
those
with
lands.
Henry Cavill and Army
Hammer?
Hammer?
The Man from
Hammer.
Uncle.
Yeah,
Oh,
one.
that
He's
was
just
a
eating the
great
sandwich
movie.
and drinking wine.
That was a great
That's my
movie,
favorite
yeah.
scene in that movie.
That's a movie that deserves a damn sequel.
It
That
should-
movie's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it surprised a lot of people. I watched the first half of it and I fell asleep. Not as a comment to the movie, I was just tired. But I haven't gone back and watched it.
It was
all again.
late.
It was late.
Fans of that movie are just in line waiting for a sequel to Hudson Hawk behind those guys.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting for a sequel to Zombieland. That's finally happening. Can you believe that movie's 10 years old now?
Yeah, it's so weird that we haven't got a sequel out of Zombieland for how much of like a fun surprise that was. You know the backstory behind the Bill Murray cameo there?
It was supposed to. They wanted it to be Kevin Bacon.
No, the original script was Swayze. It was gonna be a ghost scene, like there was gonna be a zombie Swayze behind a potting wheel.
Soon, Zombieland.
Well, no, he died before the movie got made. But the original script that they had written, it was a Swayze cameo, and then it turned into a Bill Murray cameo, like on set because Woody Harrelson's friends with him.
Damn.
Oh shit.
Well, I saw that movie 3 times in theaters.
I saw it twice in the theaters.
And I took my dad to see the third time. I said, Dad, I know you're not a horror fan, and I'm not really a horror fan either. I need to be because there's a lot of artistry in it. But after Romero's films, I've just been like, all right, zombies, here we go. I had so much fun watching it that we went and saw it, and he's like, wow, that was different, you know. And it wasn't really his cup of tea, but for me to like it so much that I wanted to share it with somebody who was not a horror fan, that's testament to good writing and good characters, really good characters.
Yeah. One of the guys that actually trained me in stunt school is one of the zombies in the slow-mo sequence in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
he's the zombie in white just running for the camera. Yeah,
I love the guy. I love the guy running out of the strip club still with the beer in hand, just just trying not to spill the beer on the way out. So good.
But yeah, but Cavill, is that how it's pronounced?
Cavill.
I've always said Cavill.
Cavill. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I think my sister's met him once, but. Yeah,
Harry Cavill guy.
She was dating a member of Rock's extended family, Dwayne Johnson's extended family.
It's a big family.
So it's a very big family. But
it's an island.
As we
yeah. But she was telling me about some of this stuff about what he was going through with the negotiations and being on the Rock's team with Danny Garcia, which is the Rock's. I mean, kudos to him too for still working with his ex-wife and having a really powerhouse team. You know, it's nice to hear. What were you going to say, Mr. Stuntman Hastings?
I can't honestly. Cavill became. I'm saying it wrong. I don't give a shit. He became my Superman. Man of Steel is still a fantastic movie, and I will fucking die on that sword.
Okay, I'll let you die on it because I disagree. But go ahead.
So it was the great origin story that we needed to show an actual scope of what Superman's prowess can be. And
scope wise, yes, but keep going. Go ahead.
It did it for me. It did it for me. Okay. You know, it's Christopher Reeve's Cavill.
Man, I couldn't agree less. I think Kevin Costner was better at Superman's dad than Henry Cavill was at Superman in that. It's not Henry Cavill's fault.
It's David S. Goyer's fault.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
I don't think
fault.
it was a strong script.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a strong movie.
Because it was a reaction film to Superman Returns, where Superman doesn't throw a goddamn punch in that movie.
He fights a plane at one point, and that's it. Yeah.
So I really liked the depth that they were trying to bring with Superman and the whole codex, and he was born of a natural birth rather than not the codex. So, you know, all these things like, oh, that's kind of neat, and that's delving into a lot of these comics and kind of the Jeff Johns world and some other stuff. But as soon as Kevin Costner was like, oh, I got to go back for the dog. I'm like, that dog's the first thing out of that truck. It knows the tornado is coming, okay?
Yeah.
And then...
No dog would be running into a tornado, by the way.
Yeah.
That would not happen. They
and
would
then
see that coming and be gone.
He decides, in order to protect his son, he's going to scar him for life at an emotional level beyond human understanding because he could have saved his father. He's like, my dad understood the world wasn't ready. Who gives a fuck, man? He's your dad. And it should have been, he just said, you know what, Dad? No, I saved you. I can't hide or do it your way anymore. And I would have much rather have had that story.
You're talking about that same shit, that missed motivation. Like, it's just miswritten motivation.
Yeah.
Like, every villains or heroes all have to have motivation for their actions. And if the story doesn't really explain motivation correctly, why would Jamie Foxx do that in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man? That's stupid.
So he is my Superman. Yes, Cavill looks like Superman. He feels like Superman. Great. And I felt that way after he was announced because I saw that film he was in called Immortals. It was kind of like a 300 type vibe.
Yeah.
And he was
produced by the same people, but not directed by them.
Yeah. He was jacked in that movie. But I saw him perform and I went, okay, I think he could be a good Superman. And unfortunately, he was part of this giant wheel called the Warner Brothers Studios.
I will say that Jesse Eisenberg is my Luthor.
Really?
No, come on. Gene Hackman is my Luthor.
Oh my gosh. Caught into the studio world. And it was a mix of Zack Snyder's visions trying to be different than previous stuff, but it wasn't really working out. And the studio trying to capitalize on making the money as fast as possible. The whole reason, and I bring this up, and again, I'm not trying to shit talk Warner Brothers because I work with them and their family, but this is the hard truth of the corporate world. The CEO at the time wanted to cash in on his bonus, and that's why the Justice League was pushed out that November. It should have been delayed.
Shouldn't have
but it was
made.
not. It shouldn't have been made.
Should have been made 5 years after they made it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to make a Justice League movie immediately after. Well, you don't need to make Batman v Superman without a Batman movie to back that up.
No.
Yeah, that's insane.
Because they were playing catch up to Marvel. And now they're going back to, let's just make these auteur films with the Joker coming out.
But none of those
in the
guys
fall.
like went to a Kmart and saw what GoBots looked like in the 80s trying to compete with Transformers. Like, why would you even do that? Why not just be yourself and make something? Have some pride in your properties. That's the difference. Like, Marvel has control over their shit, where DC doesn't have control over their shit. Warner Brothers has control over their shit. And it's studio dudes with nice hair and stupid suits on making, like, telling artistic people how to be artistic and shitting on it. Marvel's actually run by artistic people across the board.
We're going to get into Marvel, but I felt like you wanted to say one more thing about Man of Steel, or at least the DC stuff, before we jump into Marvel.
It holds a place.
Okay.
It holds a place.
What do you think of Aquaman?
I can't take that away
Never
from you.
saw it, actually.
Oh,
I
my
missed
God.
it. I wanted to.
I'm curious about your opinion.
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Whatever that lady is with the Little Mermaid haircut, like, that wig is absurd. Everything about that movie is absurd to me. I don't understand how
That's
that
why
made
it's so
money.
fun. Because you go in knowing it's absurd.
Yeah.
You're like, you're watching
I'm a
Jason
Marvel nerd.
Momoa.
I hate. Like, I don't hate Captain Marvel. I don't understand why they shoehorned Captain Marvel into the MCU right there.
The
either.
Scrolls. They needed to get the
Yeah.
Scroll storyline in there.
Obviously,
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about. We're gonna jump into Marvel, folks. So I'm gonna predicate this right now.
get that joint going for this.
Let's do it. We are going to spoil.
Union
Here
mascot,
I go.
everybody.
This
Thank you.
is me off the cliff.
We
so.
we are going to spoil Spider-Man: Far From Home and everything that's happened so far in the MCU. Have you seen Far From Home?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, saw it opening that Tuesday.
Good.
And
So
damn.
Far From Home stuff. Spoilers are happening right now. That's how you know
it off.
spoilers are started. All right.
Cut that.
Far From Home was a delight. I was so happy.
What a perfectly paced movie. too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also in the entire context of what we had just experienced, and to have it all boiled down into a PowerPoint presentation made from some high school kids with Whitney Houston singing as
was
the
awesome.
intro with the whole Marvel
Yeah.
intro and everything, I went, what a great choice. Like, throughout the movie, it's like, what a great choice. What a great choice. What a great choice. Because Kevin Feige, the directors, the story writers, knew how the audience was going to be feeling once they knew that Iron Man died.
Well, the
And
one
it puts you in that place.
on the tail end of that, when the kids are talking, the two like high school news anchors are talking. When the one kid's talking about how his little brother's older than him.
Yeah, so
That
good.
is so perfect because we walked out of Endgame one,
Yeah.
because there's that shot of them going back to high school. I'm like, so did all those kids that he knows get snapped? And then they just basically hand that to you on a platter in the most hilarious way. I love that kid. It's like, yeah, my little brother's like older than me now.
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack with that, but lost my train of thought. Never mind. Hold on, more of this.
Getting over
I'm gonna wait on that. That's not gonna help me one fucking bit.
a nasal infection, so it's not helping with the coughing, folks. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry.
There it is. Sorry. I feel a little bit slighted. Black Widow left out of the in memoriam.
No, she was there.
Was she?
Yeah.
Was there?
Okay.
Yeah. It was a lot of RDJ, and then it was Captain
Cap.
America and her
So I saw Vision.
and Vision. Yeah,
okay,
it got
okay.
everybody.
Okay, all right.
Because it reinforced it, like, oh yeah, Vision's gone. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
In that bubble of being like a regular person living in that universe, if you saw the Vision pop up, wouldn't you just be like, well, that's a robot?
Do people even know who the Vision
Yeah,
is?
no, I'd be like,
Yeah.
who's this? Like, if there's video of the Civil War fight at the airport, then maybe you're like, well, who the fuck are all these people?
I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page that
Yeah,
people can
yeah.
access. Like, who is the Vision? How did he get started?
Can one of you make that Wikipedia page for that just actual universe? Because that would be amazing to read.
Yeah.
That would be fucking fantastic.
Snook City. Sorry, dude. We'll let you know when it's not spoiled, but thanks for stopping by. Somebody in chat like, gotta go. I didn't see the movie yet.
Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry, you gotta get on that. That's why the whole 4th of July weekend was for. Jake Gyllenhaal
Nailed it.
Oh,
crushed
Knocked
it.
it out of the park.
yeah.
Crushed
Yeah.
it.
So believable as the friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we all
he's-
knew. We all, like, anybody who has any kind of
Yeah.
back history with reading comics knows what's up with.
But man, between him being I'm Mysterio, the hero, and then you see that turn of fuck this, cheers to all of us is a fantastic go-between for him.
I actually like that he didn't name himself Mysterio. They named him Mysterio, which is a fun kind of device, I think, to give the character the name too.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he's and that just built with the I'm gaining your trust to get that shit from you.
Yep. And what a great plan. And that monologue, I want to memorize that monologue. When he talks to and Will, who had to do all this shit, and Janice, who did this, and he doesn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of my favorite monologues in all of cinema is from Donnie Darko, where he talks about the Smurfs and how fucked up it would be to be a Smurf. He's like, "Why don't be a Smurf? You don't even have a dick." Like he goes on this tangent.
I thought you were gonna say like the hypnosis scene where he wants to talk about like he wants to fuck Christina Applegate when he's
that one's good too.
Children.
Yeah, that one's good too.
See, but my mind went to Nightcrawler in the scrapyard scene. I was like, oh, but no, that's good.
Oh yeah, I never finished that movie. I fell asleep. The one time I tried to watch it, I fell asleep.
No, he has so much dialogue. In the GQ's been
that's a skin crawling movie. It's amazing.
GQ's been doing this series where they're interviewing actors like, oh, your iconic roles. And the Jake Gyllenhaal one is so good because he's so present and talking about what he learned. He talks about October Sky, which is his first big break.
What a great movie that was.
Dude.
Have you read that book?
No, I need to.
Oh, yeah, Rocket Boys. Homer Hickam Jr. wrote a book. It's a true story, yeah. It's kids kind of, what is it, the 50s, coal mining Virginia era?
Yep.
Yeah.
Studying rocket technology. Post-World War II scientists came over here. It's a great book. Terrific movie. Yeah. That's not his big acting break. He's been going since.
Well, his family's the Gyllenhaals are a famous acting family, but that was his first film.
He was Billy Crystal's son in City Slickers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He says when Billy Crystal goes Ramaki.
Yeah,
that's right. The lady that he's banging. What's his name? Daniel Stern's banging at the grocery store shows up.
Well, to a starring role like that too at that age, but. He talks about when he was acting with Chris Cooper, and he's in that scene where they're yelling back and forth. And after, I think it was either the first or second take, Chris said to him, "You're not listening to me. You need to listen to me." And in the scene, and that's just stuck with him for so long. And the way that he tells that story, I mean, as a fellow artist, you think like, what a defining moment, and it's just like, here's this tool you need, and now you're gonna have this tool in your tool belt for the rest of your life. It's just so I really recommend people to watch it because it's just so cool, especially when he talks about how excited he is to be Mysterio and be in the Spider-Man franchise, because he was going to be possibly Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 because Tobey Maguire hurt his back and they were going to have to delay shooting. And the studio's like, we don't want to delay shooting. We're going to recast. Let's get Jake Gyllenhaal in. And they were getting really close to making it happen.
Damn, that's cold-blooded, Sony.
It happens.
Fuck you, Toby.
Yeah.
But
they will always own Spider-Man too.
Amy Pascal, fortunately for her, really turned things around after those emails that Sony hacked back in the day.
I heard she's moving. She's moving to Universal.
What?
Yeah.
For what? Universal can't launch a goddamn thing.
Isn't she moving?
Of their own. I haven't heard that.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm talking about the Dark Universe didn't work.
About this too. Yeah, I feel like I heard that.
I heard she was moving, but I heard this like 2 days ago. But I watch so many miles of YouTube every day. It's like it gets lost, kind of.
True.
Like in the middle of the night last night, I went down a rabbit hole about the 7th Infinity Stone. Like
what?
Yeah. It's like it was like there was a Marvel crossover with Malibu Comics. It was the Ultraverse. It was the Ultra Force comics.
God damn!
And there was a 7th Infinity Stone. So then Marvel took that and brought it back over to Marvel, and then created the character Nemesis, who was the creator of all the Infinity Stones. And I was like, I forgot about this. Completely.
Wow. This is like Kevin Feige's ultimate plan. This is 2030. Yeah. 2030.
That's what I do with my free time is dig into the backstory to try to. That's how I love to get into speculation is digging into the backstory stuff.
But you know what's so fun about that is the deeper that we go into the history, the backstory, it's like, oh, so this happened and that's why it's this way. It's like you see the consequences first and you're like, why is it like this? And you go all the way back and you realize it's because of this choice or this action. And it's one thing that I learned a number of years ago is you got to be very careful about your choices because consequences may happen 10, 15, 20 years later. Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes to storytelling, when you can pinpoint those things, it's very fascinating. I think part of that fascination was destroyed with the prequels of Star Wars because, like, do you want to see Darth Vader as a little kid? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Now that we got it, it's like, didn't really matter. So there's some struggles there for sure. And that's why I'm so glad, especially with the MCU, and we're really going to dive more into the MCU here, is we don't see a whole lot of prequel films. I think this Scarlet not Scarlet Witch, but I think the Black Widow one may be some type of prequel.
Yeah.
We already got kind of tossed mis-speculation because everybody was speculating that was going to take place in the 80s, and then we got that photo of what everyone's saying is Taskmaster, which it does look like Taskmaster.
Yeah.
But he's in like a 2017 BMW or 2016
BMW.
BMW,
She's driving.
like
she's
that.
driving one of those.
So he's in a tank and she's in the
yeah
modern BMW. So obviously it's.
They're thinking it happens in the 5-year span between the snap and
because of her hair color, right?
Hair color, but
it's
also
like
it's
in
just
between the two.
Okay.
Marvel's smart. They're not going to screw up something like that by putting it in the wrong timeline of a vehicle. If they are, it's going to get fixed in post with CGI, but they're figuring this is going to be that kind of her beginning, maybe Budapest, and then what's been going on in the 5 years of the snap with her.
I'm super interested in this movie because I don't think it falls into a lot of speculation territory in the broad strokes of the Marvel universe, but it's such a well-defined character now.
Yeah.
Like she's got such a cool arc, and we all give a fuck about her. Like she took what was kind of a weak character in Iron Man 2 and with the team of people at Marvel made it so interesting that like it really doesn't matter what they do. I think we can just kind of put faith in the idea that it's going to be good.
And also how beautifully they were able to express the character in Endgame, where you could see Scarlett Johansson's great performance, where you could see her really be taxed to tears after talking to Rhodey about Hawkeye going off the deep end. Mm-hmm. Like you just could feel it. Like I could feel it on her shoulders, the burden that she has now that half her team is gone and they don't know what to do, and it's been 5 fucking years. Like that. When I saw that for the first time of 5 years, it's like, dude, what are they gonna do? Because I thought about all the people that we lost. How are they gonna How are they gonna do this? And this is why Far From Home was such a masterstroke as the what's the word? The epilogue. Kind of the epilogue of this phase. Yeah. It was like the most beautiful epilogue because it dealt with Tony in death, because all these people that were so pissed off at Tony having worked with him for so long came together and tried to make something. And I was like, this is so realistic. And this is exactly what would happen if somebody like that died.
The post-credit sequences were very much like the perfect to be continued after an epilogue. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're starting a new story.
Yeah, and they gave you some wide open to be continued cliffhanging.
Blew it out of the park with this
the casting.
Changes.
The casting.
They brought him back.
Dude, I saw it with a friend of mine on Tuesday of last week, and the theater was pretty packed, but not too full.
Yeah.
You felt it. Everybody, oh! Like it just was so electric.
He's back with us. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the perfect cast.
And they turned him into like an InfoWars character.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So a modern day
what
version
a
of
great
this.
idea.
Yeah.
But what got me is like, okay, this blows it open. There's no Peter Parker Daily Bugle. There is none.
Yeah.
Okay, but now it's like
the science.
You're the new Iron Man kid, but also now you're the bad guy.
Well, his next enemy is fake news.
Yeah.
But what a reflection of current society.
But that creates fun speculation because everyone was talking about how the Sinister Six is going to enter into it. But like now there's like, okay, now he's like a wanted man. So could they do Punisher? How tight was their deal with Netflix between that? Because there has to be a space between the Netflix
was it a couple years?
Well, the
Punisher went after him in the backstory in the comics, and Kraven the Hunter went after him at that point.
Kraven the Hunter. They're making a Kraven the Hunter film. And they're making a Morbius? No, Morbius film with Jared Leto.
Oh, so
there's more people. There's more than just 6 people in the world casting folks. Yeah. Like, get some new blood in there, please. There's a number of people that would probably be excellent that are no names.
Mr. Joshua Gray, everybody.
I should be Nightwing, but they're doing something else. They're doing something else with that. I was going pretty far with my Nightwing pitch because I was talking to you about it last year. But Titans.
I was going to be your sidekick. Afternoon sleep in.
That's right. After Mr. Afternoon sleep in. Any messages? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
My power is mailing it in.
That Titan show is doing good enough. So that's going to be the whole Dick turns into Nightwing.
Is it
story.
worth it?
I haven't watched it, but if Jeff Jones is involved, I'll at least give it a shot. You know, he may not hit the mark every time, but he's hit it well enough a number of times. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And a couple people that I do know gave it a shot, and they said a couple episodes in, like every Netflix show, it takes a couple episodes to get into it. It's neat. It's like an alternate world type stuff. So we'll see. And since I never watched Gotham, nothing against Gotham. I was kind of over prequels. I've seen this story. So I wanted to jump into the Captain Marvel thing since that was technically a prequel.
Not a fan.
In the 90s.
I mean, I'm not a fan. I just thought it was just, like, I think Iger over at Disney just kind of like they wanted to shoehorn the character in hard, and I think
to respond to Wonder Woman.
Yeah. In
some respects.
Well, you've heard like McFeely and other guy, I'm spacing him, and the Russos didn't even want her in Infinity War, or I'm sorry, either of the two, and Iger wanted her in both. So they kind of compromised and they put her in Endgame. And there's two versions of the movie. They shot scenes, like action scenes, there's a version of the movie that's heavy Captain Marvel, and the version that we got, which is not heavy Captain Marvel. And like, I hear all these. I've heard a bunch of insider stories. I'm going to shout out War Stew because that's a lot of the insider stuff I get on that is from his YouTube channel about how they shot. To save money, they wanted to shoot scenes where they would just replace her with like Captain America because they're all there. So they would just replace her in front of the green screen for the same action. They'd both rehearse the same action. And then her management got mad about it. And they basically, like a lot of those reshoots were like shooting other action scenes to replace what was going to be Disney shoehorning Captain Marvel into the movie. Not to say she's not a great character in the comics. It's just the guys wanted to wrap it up by focusing on the main six and not get a competition with Wonder Woman, and the audience didn't like it because we have Scarlet Witch and we have Black Widow that are interesting characters already, and we don't need this right now. Like it could have been interesting. Let it breathe a second, and then bring her on board.
Well, especially when you're going into space. Like I like what the potential is. I just don't like the struggle it took to get here when the struggle wasn't absolutely necessary. I'm on board with what you're saying. Capitalizing on a trend of female power and the females being in charge is wonderful, great. I'm so happy that so many people want to see female heroes in charge. We've been fans of that because we've liked comic books since we were kids, and there's so many female characters that I'd be like, oh, amazing. And it's not. It has nothing to do with the sexuality of it. It's the choices that she makes, the burdens that she has, the backstory, the characters, the relationships, just like a male character. And when we see that on screen, we're fans of it because we want that to happen. We want it to be authentic to the character. I think what they did with Captain Marvel was make it authentic to MCU, which is great, and plugged her into the bigger space narrative. And when she even says it in Endgame, like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, there's a lot of other stuff to do. It's like, yeah, that's her realm. Put her out in space if she's that powerful. But I also loved with the choice of what they did with her is we found what her weakness is. It's the same thing she gets her strengths. It's the Infinity Stones. When Thanos took that Power Stone and put it into his hand and punched her, that oh shit moment was so real because now we kind of know what her limits are. The unfortunate part of any entertainment business or any business is the politics side of it. You want to save face and do the right thing. I had fun watching Captain Marvel, but it felt like it wasn't about her. It was about the Skrulls. It was about space. It was about the MCU and really to define more of the MCU.
Skrull conflict.
And I think I loved Carol Danvers' best friend in that film. I thought she did a great job.
What is her call? I remember her call sign too.
Yeah, it's like LeBeau is her last name. But that
Quasar? No.
Because her daughter also plays a character in the comics as well later on growing up. I liked the Carol Danvers story, and I want to see what happens with that character when she's vulnerable.
Her kid's a young Avenger, right?
When she's vulnerable.
Photon.
Is it Photon?
Photon was a call sign.
That's right. That is a call sign.
Yeah. So I feel like Captain Marvel was more of advancing the whole MCU arc and putting that character in place. And yes, there's a female character. I'm glad we got to celebrate it, but it wasn't the best Marvel movie.
Oh, I mean, dude that plays Talos.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn was the best part.
Is so good.
Best part of it.
Everything he does is so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw the first season of Bloodline. Did you ever watch the show on Netflix?
It's great.
I didn't watch the second season because I don't know if it's going to compare to the first one. Man.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. To find that family full story, do it.
Yeah.
My fiance's just heard me complain, basically like going through so much of this nerd stuff over the last like number of weeks and months.
You prepping cards at home?
Well, she's getting into it now, and I scream about how everybody rips off Battlestar. So I restarted Battlestar 2 days ago, and basically that's why I didn't see John Wick 3. Is like I wanted to show her the beginning of the Battlestar series. So I was like, here's where everybody steals their material from.
Well, funny, Battlestar is stolen from the Book of Mormon and some other stuff. So.
It's true. It is a religious. It is
Yep,
a very. I told her that I was like, this is not sci-fi. This is religion under the guise of sci-fi.
Yeah, the 12. It represents Quorum of the Apostles.
I briefly revisited the 12 Monkeys series from Sci-Fi this week too.
Oh, how is it? Because I like the
pretty good.
film. I like the film a lot.
It's pretty good. It's nothing like the film. It's the guy that played Pyro in X-Men 2 and 3 is the lead playing.
I'm glad he's getting some work. Good.
He's not bad in the show. It's got the boyish face is a little weird, trying to be like a hard-boiled character.
Yeah, that's why you grow a beard or something. If maybe that.
No,
helps.
he's got some
some gruff, some scruff.
Some scruff happening.
Speaking of bad, did you guys see Dark Phoenix?
Oh yeah,
you did. My God, I did not see it.
So I was trying to go see John Wick.
1 second, and shout out to Brett Beeling for joining us in the chat. Hype to you, my buddy out there in Germany. He's working for League of Legends at the moment, one of their technical directors and producers. He and I go way back. He and I helped make the Mortal Kombat show together. Sorry to interrupt. I want to give him a shout out. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was trying. Dead set. I was like, I got to see Wick before it's fucking gone, and I went down and thank you Seattle Metro. Bus system running way behind, just like today.
Hey, you made it in time.
Hour behind. And so I get to the movie theater and it's like, oh, it started 15 minutes ago. I'm like, I'm 15 minutes in. No, I'm not missing 15 minutes of Wick. I was like, well, what the fuck else is playing? I was like, Dark Phoenix. Goddamn. How far into Dark Phoenix is it? It's about 10 minutes. I was like, all right, I can miss 10 minutes of that fucking turd.
Yeah, most people have walked out, so you have the theater to yourself.
Damn, man. It was like the last season of Game of Thrones. They just gave up from the beginning, and it was just like, fuck it, here it goes.
And that poor kid that plays Cyclops, he's got to be bummed out after Ready
I
Player
will say
One
this.
and the X-Men franchise just kind of shit in the bed.
Yeah.
He's great at wearing glasses. So.
Yeah. And I will say this, to his credit, doesn't take that stupid visor off the entire thing. And it's
good, because the actor's like, no, they're going to be able to see his face. Yeah. Like, that's not part of the character.
Don't sign up. That dude's face is his lips, so it's fine.
Yeah,
he's
all good.
Yeah.
Let's all give some silent love to Dredd for a second, because that guy,
man,
that is the greatest goddamn movie that...
Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Dredd was one of the best.
He's one of the best examples of an actor really understanding the character he's playing.
Oh, yeah.
Like Carl Urban?
He fucking got Dredd.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he went to them and was like, here's the deal. I'll do this, but it's under one condition. They're like, oh, fuck, what is this? He's like, I don't take off the helmet. They're like, huh? It's like, that's it. And they're like, you're Dredd. You're good.
They took The Raid and put Dredd in it, and it's an excellent movie, and we really want a sequel one day. I think maybe
there was almost going to be a Netflix series.
They were close. It's financing. Ari Shakkar, who has a Bootleg Universe YouTube channel, he made a short film with the Punisher, Thomas Jane.
Oh,
and with
Dirty Laundry?
He's the guy who directed that.
Good.
He's got a couple other episodes and different videos that he's made on his YouTube, and they're just like once every 6 months or whatnot. But I think he helped finance Dredd, because he breaks down why, like what it took for that movie to get financed, and then what it's going to take to get a sequel type thing. And it's just the distribution rights, pretty much.
Yeah.
But distribution's gone so digital that if they could do a digital series, and don't make it 10 episodes, just make it 6 or make it 5, make it Chernobyl long. All right. We don't need padding. We just need Dredd being Dredd.
How do they not realize that there's enough people out there? It doesn't really matter where they put it. They could fucking hide that thing on the internet, and fans would come after it because the first one is that good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they would have any problem finding enough money to cover what they spend making it.
Well, the world's changed so much, even since that movie's come out, because that is a independent movie. And it was independently financed by a lot of foreign. But it's still like even it's still possible. You're right. It's
looking back on it, that's a shining star of independent films. Though that's a great movie.
It is.
Hopefully, we'll get more. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, you love that movie. You talk about that all the time.
Top 10. Still top 10. Taught me how to cuss.
Are we talking about the Michael Bay endeavor, or are we talking about the one? The
80s.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh, the 80s.
Which has one of my favorite quotes of all time.
Hit me.
When Raphael gets hit by the taxi, and the guy in the back was, what's that? And he goes, looks like a big turtle.
Looks like a giant turtle in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Now, that's fact. Guy in the back of taxi is the guy that played Raphael.
Are you shitting me?
And he's the only dude that was in the suit, I believe, and the voice.
Wow.
I don't remember your name, man, but you fucking killed it. I'm sorry.
Dude, they were so good. And that's why I loved when they came out in Injustice 2, it was that design. It was like the old school 89, 90s design for them. I love the Ninja Turtles, man. I watched the latest Michael Bay ones. And the first one, the camaraderie between the Turtles was neat because it was more of an update to it, which was cool. But the stakes and the bad guys and some of the dialogue was like, oh, come on. No.
I'll tell you this. I watched them both, and I rewatched them, and it took me being high as just stoned out of my goddamn mind, and I was like, okay, this is good. I get it.
I still think the second one is pretty good.
Green on green.
It's like,
Out of the shadows.
I think the third one's pretty good. Turtles.
Turtles in Time?
No.
You're talking about the Michael Bay one.
Yeah.
Oh, the current ones?
You're getting greened out from Michael
Out
Bay.
of the Shadows is garbage. The first one's okay.
Secret of the Ooze is my favorite Turtles.
I would love
Go
to
Ninja.
see. I want to see because it'll never happen because of studios owning shit and who owns what. But the guys that created the Ninja Turtles, their backstory is
Hickman
based
and
on
Laird.
Daredevil's backstory. Like when they created that, they envisioned that the same thing that created Daredevil created the Ninja Turtles. It was that same exact chemical fell down the sewer and hit.
Really?
That was their motivation for it.
Okay.
And I would love to see that done as a fan film, like that surface level Daredevil to Ninja Turtle backstory at the same time.
They could bring Ninja Turtles into like a Spider-Man film or something like that, where something's happening down in the sewers. Like the Connors becomes a lizard. He's down in the sewers. Maybe some of the same stuff that you were talking about mixes with Connor was using to regrow, and all of a sudden turtles get exposed, and that's how the turtles join the MCU.
This is just what I was.
Are they? But I thought who do they belong to though? Weren't they part of? Was it Vertigo?
So the latest appearance they had was on Injustice 2, which is DC.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're still independently owned because originally it was a
Paramount property? Is it like a
Japanese
Viacom
company. Yeah, it's a
thing?
Viacom.
Yeah.
It's a Viacom film, but that could just be film rights.
Also,
yeah.
they were in that. What was it? There was an animated Batman Ninja Turtles movie that kind of hit. I haven't watched it.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I want to see that.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So
Batman
they
versus
sounds
Ninja
like they're
Turtles. So
airing-
Warner Brothers might have it.
so you're leaning
Yeah,
more towards
yeah.
Warner Brothers. Okay.
Who knows?
Warner Brothers, sell that shit.
Who made,
You don't
who made
want
the
it.
last
they
video
did
game?
They did a crossover event in 1974, DC versus Marvel.
Yeah, the Amalgamon. What how's it
Something.
pronounced? Yeah,
I can't-
amalgamation. Yeah. Oh, I was really into that fucking thing. I goddamn bought so many of those. Batman and Wolverine together, Dark Claw. Really cool for a fucking 12-year-old.
Yeah, man. That's
Awesome.
how you sell it. That's how you sell it.
Yeah.
I think Warner Brothers just needs to fire all the film side of the DC side and just take all the animated guys and just move them over to the film side and have them in charge because all of that animated Warner Brothers stuff is so good.
Yeah, they have great stories. They storyboard it out and they ship it off to Korea, and they have Korean animators, and it comes out great.
The anime one was a little obnoxious though. That was
I
cool.
haven't seen that one. The Batman.
The Batman?
Yeah.
The Batman
no.
one.
The Batman anime one where he travels back and it's like a ninja scroll.
Feudal Japan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Haven't seen that.
Haven't seen
Too.
it.
Tony Hale does Joker. I think it's Tony Hale. I
Really?
could be wrong. I think it's Tony Hale does the Joker in that.
Really?
Tony Hale from Arrested Development. He nails it.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix.
Oh,
Pretty bad, huh?
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
bad. It just
just,
sucks
like-
because we don't know what's going to happen with those characters.
well,
There's so many things that happen with the characters.
we know they're going to get better.
We don't know what's going to happen with the actors. And-
I think the actors are done. They're going to recast.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would rather the X-Men be older in their 30s.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
now we've seen Jameson now. Like, they're not willing to bring somebody over from another universe.
Very
Yeah,
true.
that's the
With J.K.
first
Simmons
time
coming
they've done
over.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah.
I knew that movie was
What a fun
DOA
reveal, though.
when in the first act, Jennifer Lawrence was like, "I'm out. Fucking kill
Yep.
me."
Yep. She's tired of
Give
wearing
me-
that makeup.
Oh yeah, she's done, and can't blame her.
Well,
But-
there was talk that they were not even going to release the film,
Really?
and that should have been what happened. And I think
I remember when you heard that rumor because we were
Yeah.
still working together when you heard
Yeah,
that rumor.
'cause I'm like, dude, they're not gonna release
shelve
it.
both of them because they were going to shelve what was the horror one?
Oh,
with the
yeah,
guy from Stranger Things.
Oh God, what are they? It's the
New Mutants.
Oh
Yes,
that's still shelved. I don't think that's going to see
That's
the
going
light
straight
of
to
day.
digital download. They're not going to put that in theaters.
If they finished it.
Oh,
maybe,
that's right. They tested it poorly, right? Didn't they?
Sure.
Oh yeah, and Maisie Williams is in it too, and it's
from Game of Thrones.
yeah, and
that's
it's I don't think it's going to be released. Hey, you want to hear a fun fact? They shot a third season of the Machinima Mortal Kombat series, but it was so bad it never saw the light of day. So that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately there's so much front-loaded hype for stuff that they're like, well, we have to deliver because we told everybody that the release date's going to be on this day 3 years in advance. So we have to do it. And that's what happens when they make a piece of shit and they have all these contracts to fulfill still because it has to fit in this window. I think that's ultimately why Dark Phoenix was released, is because we have too many obligations we have to hold to, even though it's going to, this franchise is going to suffer and these characters are going to suffer and kind of push everything back a bit, even though it's
nothing to replace it with either.
Well, no, but it like they massaged it a bit by buying Fox. I mean, Disney just straight out bought Fox and has the rights to it, but they let that one go, I think, because they still had precursing contracts, and maybe part of the deal was you still have to release dates for all the films that are in production.
There could be international money or kind of down the line back end on it, like there could, because it's already made, right? Somebody else already paid for it and made it.
Yeah.
And it's done.
And
like everything's in the can at this point. So if they release it, maybe it's going to be like a Super Mario Brothers face-off piece of shit that we all love 20 years later. It got a theatrical release, so that means it's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Could be.
So maybe they're going to push it out and maybe still make a penny
I think it
off
was
of
just
20
we've,
years.
we've bought this, it's paid for, just put it out, we might be able to recoup something.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, might as well just throw it out there and down the line, it's already paid for.
But it was the same producer responsible for X-Men: The Last Stand that botched the whole Phoenix storyline. That was responsible for this
massive
storyline as too.
disappointment in the theater
So it's
for
like,
that movie.
hey man, stop touching X-Men, okay?
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
off X-Men. We need to get some new blood, some fresh takes that really hodes in on the comics. And I think if I was Kevin Feige, I would have already been having these conversations. And I think what they're going to do to introduce the X-Men is piecemeal one by one in the MCU. Not some new origin story film where they come together at the Academy. We're done with that. We've seen that twice.
Yeah.
Have Storm appear in Black Panther 2 to help deal with the crisis that's happening in Africa. Have
This is all going to fall in the hands of Jonathan Hickman. Like,
Yeah.
Hickman. Logan is based on Hickman's work. That's Old Man Logan's part of the Fantastic Four run.
and don't give them their own film. Give them their own limited series on Disney Plus, just like what they're doing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's a 6-episode series. Give us that.
How the
so we can
MC
define that character for whatever role or age they're in.
I would speculate that one way or another, how the MCU treats a lot of these characters is going to be based on what Hickman does behind the scenes right now after bringing him back. Hickman swore up and down that he was not going to go back to corporate comic writing, and Marvel got him back, and they got him back for a reason. Like so much of the MCU is based on his work. I can only imagine what he's going to do. X-Men in the comics, bringing them back now that they own it. That it's all going to play into the MCU. Like, anybody who loves to speculate out there, like, look at Jonathan Hickman's work, whether it be Fury or Fantastic Four stuff, specifically the Fantastic Four stuff, and then speculate on what's going to happen forward in the MCU.
So do you think they brought him back as a way to bring comics and the movies in a closer synergy to
I think
get
that's
them on
what
the same
he does.
page?
Like, because that's how he writes comics. Is he writes different titles at once, and really to understand the big arc that he'll write, you have to read a bunch of titles at once. Like, you have to read like 4 different titles, and they all have a massive arc that happens over them. Yeah, he's basically the best at it right now, and that's why they convinced him to come back. My knee's hitting this chest next to me, and it's making noise. It's gonna be super annoying.
What's in that chest?
I don't know. My knee's hitting the clasp on it.
I would not. A curse. That's what's in that chest. Man.
Pirate ghosts.
Yeah. Oh, I felt there was kind of an eclectic feel of gathering a bunch of old board games that were my grandparents.
These are amazing.
I was gonna bring you
yeah.
a present, and I totally forgot because it's noon.
Dude, we're drinking mezcal. That's right.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
crack for bartenders.
Did you
this
work,
is
did
like
you work last night?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You off?
no, I haven't. I've worked once in the last 13 days.
Oh, dude. I had to close the bar last night, and I think I got out of there at like 4:30,
Oh my goodness.
and so got home at maybe 5 and tried to sleep. I don't remember being asleep. You just kind of like wrestle awake. You're like still awake.
Yep. Keep checking the time.
Oh,
I
and
only
it would
work at
just
Screwdriver, so I only have one shift a week. So
yeah. Well,
basically, the show schedule and other people doing stuff is my schedule. So
Yeah.
sometimes I have unplanned vacations.
yeah. Well, last night was today, and so
Well,
no.
welcome to time travel.
yeah. So this is going to be extra squirrely. Put some more in there, please.
Yeah,
It
well,
was-
We're getting food after this. Don't worry.
when you said let's go to California Burrito,
Good
you know
call.
what I'm talking about?
But I had Chutes and Ladders, and I was remarking that's a fantastic one. But I want to know what the fuck Disney monorail game is. What is? Like,
I don't know.
great looking box, but
It's a great.
I just see some of these games. I'm like, I want to know who came up with this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. But the Murder Shield.
When you said you were going to have a podcast and then have me on, I told you we're going to get drunk on the air.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I'm
we are.
feeling it. Ooh, again, no food. I don't typically eat till 2
Union
o'clock.
Mezcal, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Union.
Beautiful. Let's move on. Kind of talk about the future of Marvel. Where we're at. You're talking about Hickman and bringing somebody on like that is great
The Fantastic Four is going to be the most interesting thing that happens.
because they have to do Doom
They
right.
have
So
to.
who would you cast as Doom? We talked about Keanu Reeves. Anybody else?
I love the idea of Keanu doing Doom.
Sadly, I don't think it's going to happen. It's too.
I actually
It's too Clash.
well,
think,
I would
maybe.
actually like him as Reed
Oh.
Richards. He's my pick for Reed Richards. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
The problem is
I know he
that
could
the
do
reason he hasn't taken anything is because it conflicts with the other stuff he wants to do. And Reed Richards is a
Bill and Ted
character that
3
you
filming now. Thank you.
Marvel's not going to take somebody who's on the fence about when he wants to work.
Yeah.
Like you're this is RDJ kind of commitment here. Like you're committing to a decade of
I think they're
basically
going
all the
somebody
time.
younger. I think they're going somebody younger.
Somebody like whoever plays Reed Richards has to really want to play Reed Richards because this is going to identify you for the next decade at least.
Would
Yeah.
you see this as a partnership of John Krasinski and Emily Blunt?
I do see it that way because I think John Krasinski really wants to do it.
Oh, he wanted to be Cap. and
No, he
got
was on
in
the
there
fence
and he was
about
like,
Cap.
no, no, no.
He's
Evans
a comic book
Evans is
nerd.
Cap.
He was on the fence about being Cap because he's like a comic book nerd, and that came up, and his agent put him there. Mm-hmm. But he knew, like he saw Hemsworth,
yeah.
like they crossed paths.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he was at the audition and Evans was there. He was like, no, that's your Cap. You take him.
Oh, that's right. It was Evans, not Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I do
Krasinski
love the
Blunt
idea
could
of
be a
Krasinski.
good Reed and Sue.
Yeah. I see Rosamund Pike as Sue Storm, a little bit of an older, like they're in their 30s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is one so breathtaking to look at. One of my favorite modern actresses. Her and Nicole Kidman, or I kind of have in the same realm. Nicole Kidman is already cast in Warner Brothers for Aquaman as his mom, so probably couldn't work. So I think Rosamund Pike as Sue Storm would be a good alternate. And again, this is like not young kid version of the latest Fantastic
I don't
Four. This
think
is
that
like
would
Reed
work in
Richards
this
is
universe.
50.
Marvel
40,
can
50, yeah.
fuck with us for as long as they want to with this too, because they could just bring Doom into the MCU and just tease the Fantastic Four for like 5 years before they give it to
Sure,
us. So they have
sure.
plenty of time. They could vibe it out with the best villain in the entire comic universe, which is Doom. So bring him in, tease him for a minute. Don't even fucking bring him in. Like tease him for like a year and a half, and then bring him in. You have miles of time before casting any of this stuff.
Has Latveria ever been referenced in any of the movies?
Latveria?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
I don't remember off the top. So I'm fine with it. Give me that. But Keanu's Doom would be phenomenal.
That'd be a big pain in the ass, I think, for a lot of non-comic fan audience, having Sokovia being such a big thing in the MCU and then bringing
Latveria.
into it. Could be
They could get around it with
Yeah.
just a MacGuffin here and there, but
Like most stories,
yeah. Well, that thing does it. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that thing. Beyond Keanu, though,
I mean, Adam Warlock. I mean,
High School the Musical. What's that guy's name?
Efron, Zac
Zac
Efron.
Efron.
Everybody
Is that-
wants
is that the one
Efron, right?
tapped?
That's
Okay.
what
Okay.
I hear a lot of the speculation leaning towards is because like he's the perfect guy. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what I
No,
see
no,
on
yeah.
YouTube,
I'm on
like,
the
people just,
Efron
like,
train.
screaming
I'm
that.
on the Efron train. I've got to
Like
be.
he can act.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, I mean, my dream, and I told you this, was like Keanu for Wolverine.
No, I don't see it.
too tall.
Tall,
I know.
Too. Yeah,
Hugh
too
Jackman
Jackman.
destroyed that. You know, it's fine.
No, true. But again, it's like how can we not do the same thing? It's like, well, let's go back to a short Canadian.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the heart and soul of
Martin Short. Jiminy Glick.
Jiminy Glick.
Yeah.
So tell me all about.
What was it?
Tell me
The
about
last rumor
Wolverine.
was Charlie Hunnam was going to be Wolverine.
I like that
He was
idea.
tapping.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the guy that played the Punisher on Netflix,
John Bernthal.
John Barenthal.
I can call him Bernthal. Barenthal. Yeah.
I like that.
I got to interview him for Fury.
Really?
Super cool dude. Yeah, I got to. So I was a producer and host for a studio in LA, and we had a contract with a company called Wargaming. We were doing World of Tanks, big video game, especially in Europe. And I would commentate and be kind of
play that every now and then on PlayStation.
I was a face and voice of that game in America, along with my counterpart Rootkill, for about 2.5 years. Fury was coming out, and obviously the marketing potential of having a video game about World of Tanks and a tank movie. They had me drive down to Sony Studios.
In a tank?
I wish. No, I saw the movie the night before, and then I got to interview Logan Lerman.
Volvo, that still counts.
Yeah, that's right. That thing will survive anything. But I got to interview Michael Che. Michael Che. No, not Michael Che. Michael Pena. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Michael Pena. It's like Michael Che. That's SNL. Michael Pena, Logan Lerman, and John Barenthal. And it was a great interview. Talked about, putting on the mantle, representing this type of person back then. How do you wake up and really decide, okay, I'm going to do these people justice? And it's all the training they went through. And then I got to interview the director, and it was a great experience for me because at the end of it, the people at Sony were like, "You did a really good job." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." It's the first and only time I ever did something like that. But it was just like, hey, if I was making this movie, here's questions I would ask you as a character or as an actor to make that character come to life. So it's like me asking for my benefit. But they're like, oh, these are really good questions. Like, well, I guess.
When they eventually remake this and I go for the role.
Yeah, I wish. That movie was freaking
great,
fucking violent, though. It's just even psychologically violent what Brad Pitt was trying to do to Logan Lerman. Like, you have to kill somebody right now or I can't trust you to be on my squad. Now everybody's in danger. It's like, geez, dude, this is realistic warfare, but that's how crass and hard you have to be.
Did Barenthal mention at all how LaBeouf went like really meta and was like not showering? Knocked out a tooth, I believe, and then everyone on set was like, you need to do this because it's cool. Like, dial it back.
Yeah. No, we didn't get into that.
Probably smart.
But no, I just really appreciated what David Ayer, the director, did with that film because he was in a submarine for a long time during his service. So he could really engage that family feeling and also being isolated inside of a thing that could kill you if it's getting shot at, right? Yeah. So I really appreciated that because...
How did he make Suicide Squad?
It's called...
Money. Yeah. It's a studio.
We can all only speculate.
Studio got involved.
What do we all think about Gunn doing one now?
Well, I mean, they're like, okay, who should we get to do the next one? Well, let's do the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. It's so on the nose,
but they're still going to control it. He's not going to do anything other than say roll.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I think seeing what he'd done so far with Guardians 1, Guardians 2, he can go in there and be like, listen, I know that they just kind of kicked me to the curb, but guess what? If you want something that's going to be enjoyable, stay outside the lines. Yeah. And I feel like they would listen to him.
I don't know. Everything to me, like, it just feels like the studio says, get out there and take risks, guys. And then they take your shit and they cut it into something safe out of the risks you took.
Yeah.
And it looks like crap every time. Like,
well, they sure as shit aren't selling them to...
no, you nailed it on the head. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah. But they're sure shit not trying to fucking build a universe again. They don't have a damn clue.
They can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to see...
We need to tie this into these things. He's like, what things? Like, well, we don't know.
This is going to benefit the DCU hugely, is this Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie and doing independent stories, because DC's strongest work in the comic books is the small independent shots that they do. Like, we found these fantastic writers and artists. Let's do this one take on Batman. Let's do this 3-episode thing in the snow where he meets Superman and Superman gets killed. Like, some crazy shit happens. There's miles of these things in the DC comic universe. Just find cool directors and let them do whatever the fuck they want, and don't try to build a collected universe. Use them as individual pieces of art.
That's what they're going. And treat
it that way, like the animated universe does.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it
Keep
that
them
way.
all referenced, but it doesn't need to. Everything doesn't need to tie together. But fucking bring somebody over and have a team up and just like, yeah, we know who the fuck these people are.
I mean,
They're cool.
Treat your audience with respect, that they know who the characters are because they've been part of our modern mythology for the last 50 years.
nobody's out there saying DC can't build a universe, but they got to do it fucking slowly and methodically. Like they
I'm
did
out there
over
saying they
some
won't.
Time.
It's like if you lived in Greece in ancient times and somebody wanted to make a movie about Zeus and they wanted to do his backstory. Like, we already know the backstory. We know it. We know it. It's ingrained in the stones around us in our temples. You don't have to make a play about that. Make a play about what Zeus does in this moment, you know?
In terms of viewership, the DC television universe is crazy successful, and that goes all the way back to the beginning of the Arrow, right? That's the beginning of it?
Of this one, yeah. But then they even, Arrow.
What's that, like 13
the
seasons or
Arrowverse,
something?
they call it.
Yeah.
That goes back pretty deep, and even it's all connected. Gotham's connected.
It even goes back to the Flash series from the early '90s. The guy who plays the Flash,
that's true.
plays the Flash
Yeah.
in his. That's an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
They made that show canon. That's one of the coolest.
The
things
guy that looks exactly like the guy that played Captain America in the 90s, but it's not the same guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things that Warner Brothers and DC does is they treat people like family for the rest of time. Like the guy who played Jimmy in the original Supermans, like the 1970s Supermans, he was in Justice League. He was a security guard that the Flash goes up to in order to visit his father, right? And I saw him like, oh shit, it's Jimmy. He was also in Smallville. He was also like... Then you have the guy who played Lex Luthor in Smallville, played one of the Kryptonians in Man of Steel.
Oh, I like that guy.
They kind of keep the...
He's in
was
Guardians of the
professor
Galaxy,
guy.
too. Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
They
They were tapping him to possibly be Warlock at some. Everyone was speculating that.
He's part of Starhawk's Guardians.
Yeah.
Like
the
Stallone
Stallone
guy.
Yeah,
the
he's,
Stallone
yeah,
guy.
that's him.
That's what I really like about Warner Brothers and DC is they keep people in the family in that way. Like we'll reference that stuff. But it was so cool that they had that be part of the canon of those shows. I haven't watched any of the universe Arrowverse shows because I watched Smallville like a hardcore fan.
I definitely
every
watched
episode.
I watched Smallville obsessively for 5 seasons, and then I stopped completely because I just stopped and went, "Oh, this is stupid now."
Yeah, it got stupid.
Yeah.
But the last episode was such a payoff because I'm like, all right, I'm this far in. I might as well just finish it. These last 4 seasons, and they could have stopped it at season 6.
My ears stuck up the second they introduced Lois, and I was like, "She looks a little old for him."
But Erica Durance did a wonderful job. She's been my favorite Lois Lane since Margot Kidder.
Well, since we're on the subject, though, can we talk about the Pattinson Batman?
Yeah,
Great casting
Pattinson.
choice.
I'm psyched, dude.
100% on board for that.
Yeah.
I gotta see Good Time. I hear that film is just crazy.
I've heard that too. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. But I'm so for it. What do you think, Mr. Hastings?
I'm for it. He's been through enough career-wise, especially in the Twilight and everyone just being like, "Fuck all this. This is like he knows that hate."
The Potterverse.
And then the rise of just one movie, right? He was in one movie in Potterverse. I was like, he's the fucking greatest.
Yeah. He was in the fourth
has
one,
that
right?
rise, yeah. So I think I'm for it. I don't know where they're going to set it in kind of like the lore. In it's got to be Batman in 30s, right?
It's not going to be. Yeah, they already said it's not going to be year one. They're still going to do. I think they're going to try to do. Joe, what's the guy's name?
Chill?
Joe Chill?
No, the guy from Magic Mike. That's
Joe.
Mangione.
Yeah. Chuck Mangione.
Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deathstroke.
Oh, really?
Deathstroke.
Okay. I haven't
Weren't they
heard
still
that.
planning on doing that? Isn't I think DC wanted to retain him.
I thought that
as
was kind of
that character.
thrown out when they decided not to do a Justice League sequel. That
was supposed to
He
bleed
was
into
the
Ben
tease.
Affleck's Ben Affleck doing a Batman movie. Then he passed it on to Matt Reeves because Warner Brothers. Yeah, and he's.
I'm not sure. I just know that it's a film noir, and they're going to focus more on the detective side of Batman rather than the action side, which they've done too heavily.
He's going to Abrams
all
it and do a
for it.
1989 Batman remake.
We'll see. I'm happy with the casting. I think that's a really intriguing choice, and he can definitely act.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the brooding side, yeah, sure. But I think also just career-wise to have moved out of the Twilight realm with all that money. So he doesn't have to make decisions based on money. He can make decisions based off art.
Yeah.
Did he make a lot of money towards the end of that shit?
I'm sure.
What were they paying
How
him?
many movies were that? 6?
It was like 7 movies, right?
Yeah.
6 or 7? Yeah. Which is crazy.
No, it was like 5. How many were there? 5?
I think there's a part 1 and part 2 of the last one. So I think it's 6.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one, and I watched it because I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about.
What was her name?
I watched it alone, bro. The rest of that shit on my own.
I've definitely seen all of them, and I have no idea what happened in any of them.
Whoa!
I've seen all of them, and I have no idea what happened in any of them. That's
you
how
are
good
the
they were.
aficionado. Wow. Damn.
No, normally I have a memory for stuff, but no, there was just a lot of
just what I remember.
It's just a lot of like sparkly, like it's fan service to like. I don't want to say who. I don't know who likes that shit. But
I've never seen, never read, and know too much about it thanks to the zeitgeist of pop culture, and everyone just going Team Jacob or Team
Edward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say Stuart. that right there.
I'm a vampire.
Is it weird that you
My
went
name
Team
is
Jacob first,
Stuart.
Because that's the only one I remember.
Yeah.
Because
like the
it's the
ridiculous
werewolf.
6?
Because I will say this. I will say this about the Ridiculous Six. Terrible movie. But God damn it, if it didn't have that payoff, spoiler alert.
Taylor Lautner is the worst comic actor
Oh
of
yeah,
all time.
But that payoff for that thick neck idiot at the end swinging around actually got me. It actually got me. Did you see the Ridiculous Six?
No.
Don't need to.
don't need
No,
to.
I respect
Yeah.
myself.
God damn it. Maybe I was stoned too, but man,
Just Google it. You'll
that
be fine.
Yeah.
that thick neck ending was like, oh, that was it.
That
for
was
the
the payoff.
entire
No, I
movie.
watched that. What that was a Sonny Koufax or whatever Adam Sandler thing he did on Netflix. We watched as a family. It's like, he just had a new movie come out. You guys want to watch it? Sure, let's see how it is. I remember my dad at the end going, "Wow, that was a piece of shit."
God, how does Adam Sandler just like unload trash on the country until like that perfect comedy special he put out?
I think,
That comedy special was a fucking masterpiece.
yeah,
It was
That-
so good.
yeah, that Chris Farley song gets me every time.
Not even that. The way they cut it, like from
I haven't
different
seen it. I've
places.
just seen the Chris
oh
Farley
my God.
song.
Like it's not even just the finale of it because that's the end of it, but the whole thing is good. Like
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Like that. Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it. It's Adam Sandler's sense of humor, but it's a very raw version of his sense of humor, and it still plays, and it plays very well.
Do you think that's because
I think his movies are trash.
He came up,
They have been for a while.
but when he was in this prime, like I don't know how many times I listened to "They're All Gonna Laugh at You" with my friends and your young brothers because that was
GOAT.
it.
When he's just
Lonesome
goofing
Kicker.
up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's very clear that when
Pulling
Adam
the fucking
Sandler
button
is just
to me there.
when Adam
Like,
Sandler's
it's-
free to just goof off, it's funny.
Yeah.
But when
Do you think that translates though because we've gotten older with him?
I've seen Grown Ups 2 twice
What?
because of one character.
I don't know what's more embarrassing. All the Twilight movies are Grown Ups 2 twice.
There's a Tim
a
Meadows.
connoisseur.
There's a Tim Meadows based character that I think is crazy funny.
Sort of craft cheese.
I love
Meadows?
Tim Meadows. I love
Yeah.
everything that Tim Meadows does. I love No
yeah.
Activity on CBS All Access.
Gotta
That's
see
that's
that.
a
I've
hidden
heard,
gem.
Yeah.
But Tim Meadows' character and Tim Meadows' son and what's her name from like late '80s, early '90s SNL. I'm gonna space her name. I'm sorry. Ellen Cleghorn.
I would have not guessed that. Well done.
They play. This kid's name is Bumpy, and everybody's bald in their family, and they just have these like skullets. And every time anything happens, their response is just "What?" It's funny.
All right.
Had to be there.
All right, had to be
Yeah,
there.
you had to be there.
All right, we'll put that to the list of Google.
It's just dumb shit.
Wrapping up, anything else about the comic world, guys? MCU, DC, the Joker movie's coming out this fall. I'm super stoked for it. I think that trailer is such a work of art. It is such a beautiful story
Yeah.
within a story of him not being able to smile, and then he finds his smile at the very end.
I'm 50-50 on the Joker movie.
Okay.
It's weird to think about a Joker movie without a Batman, to me. They go hand in hand so much. And also, this is one of those, and something that kind of briefly got touched on earlier, is one of those things, do we need to see that origin story? With such a character that the Joker is, of just pure chaos, do we need to see where it comes from? Or can it just be, this is anarchy, pure?
Here's my response to that. I think this Joker movie is going to be more about the city of Gotham turning him into the Joker, and more a reflection on this is what happens when a society doesn't take care of each other. And it's going to be such a critique on mental health that people are going to go, holy fuck, this is crazy. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be more about the whole state of decay of the city.
Okay.
Because that's what I get from the trailer. Because we don't really want an origin story. I want to see how things can get so bad somebody could make these decisions and you kind of agree with him. And that's the scariest part about it, is you're going to be rooting for the Joker during this movie.
Yeah.
And you can see a part of yourself going like, well, all it takes is one bad day. And that's from the Joker mythos. All it takes is one bad day to become him.
So do you think it's going to be falling down with makeup?
Oh, my God, bro. Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be.
Okay.
That is
The question
the
is,
greatest elevator pitch I could have ever encountered.
Here it is, guys.
It's so good.
It's falling
Imagine
down
falling
at
down
the
acted out by
circus.
Kiss.
with makeup. Well, Falling Down's been going through my mind lately.
Oh, no, because we've become towards that age, and you're like, he gets it.
Now
I've heard
I get it,
that movie come back in conversation quite a bit in the last couple of months.
It's in our zeitgeist right now.
Back to that Joker movie, real quick. There's a comic book where Joker tells multiple origin stories to different people, and that's been a thing for the Joker for years.
And Dark Knight's featured that too.
And the name that they're using, I think, for this Joker comes from one of a couple of stories that the Joker tells within a broader stroke of a story. So I don't think this is Joker's origin. I think this is a story that the Joker is telling somebody.
Are you proposing a Joker trilogy?
I think it's a Shyamalan twist.
I'm
like
so
this
on
hot
board.
take.
I'm so on board for that because
three different Joker movies of different origins. Oh man, that'd be
That's
that would get me on board.
That actually is my guess on that movie is because of the
Listen up, Warner Brothers.
I think it's the actual Joker telling a story about his backstory, and I think it's a made up story. I think it's within a broader stroke.
Okay,
wow,
I dig that.
I
dig that.
You're too smart for Hollywood, man. It's just really smart and it's creative and it's
that's
such
what
a
they
clash.
did that in the comic books. They absolutely did that in the comic books.
But it is such a clash of the current. Everything is set in stone in canon MCU versus the I'm going to tell you a story, and it's just this. Like I think from a business standpoint of how can we differentiate ourselves from the shining beacon that is the MCU, which is the pinnacle of movies at the moment, and it deserves to be there, rightfully so. Congratulations, Kevin Feige, is you do something like that.
If I'm right, it's a great idea.
It works. Well, again, it's pulling into that creative realm of we have these characters, everybody knows who they are. What can we do with them? And that's why they did Spider-Man so well.
You love to go into the term meta in general.
I do.
You love meta style storytelling, and that's like a perfect example of what we're talking about. Which
it's so Joker
in the comic book mythos of Batman, which is to me it's the only really great DC property is Batman. It's one of the greatest comic book properties. Probably better than most of Marvel in terms of its
arguably the first to start it.
Yeah, the depth of storytelling required to make what Batman is, like as a cultural thing, is so cool. And I love the idea of that being kind of just one of Joker's tales that he tells somebody in conversation. And it being kind of like nothing to him, but everything to the audience. Like, I think that plays to what the Joker stands for.
Two things, and maybe one you can clear me up on one of these things. The run of comics where Batman's on the Morbius chair, and he
that's
has
not a question for me. I know guys for that.
Okay, and he
I know the Marvel stuff.
But he all it knows everything, and he asks it, who's the Joker, and he says that can't be possible. He gives him 3 names.
Yeah,
did that ever get fleshed out? That's
part of the Doomsday Clock comic series, and the latest is because it's part of the Doomsday Clock / Flashpoint. Doomsday Clock's continuation of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Manhattan has manipulated space and time, he has created or allowed these specific universes to go these certain ways, which is why you have the New 52.
Yeah.
Like the New 52 was DC trying to relaunch themselves to sell some more comics, but what they decided to retcon it into was Dr. Manhattan relaunched a whole universe that took out certain key characteristics. And one of those key characteristics was the young Flash, Wally West. He didn't exist in the New 52. And the whole Doomsday Clock starts out with, and part of Flashpoint is, I don't exist in this universe. What happened to me? Mm-hmm. And he starts to rip through and try to tell the story and get through. And he tells he finds the Flash. He finally gets to him. He's trying to tell different Flashes throughout time, like the old Flash, different title Flash. But he gets to the main Flash guy, and he's like, "You don't remember me, but I loved you, man. Like you were one of my mentors and all these things." And he reaches out to try to stop him from disappearing, and all of a sudden, Barry Allen goes, "I remember," and he grabs him, and then they start to realize, "Oh shit, something's happened with our space-time continuum," and Batman is starting to figure the shit out, and Superman's having dreams about Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
And that's where I've gotten to with this whole Watchmen crossover.
Okay.
But
Are
that
you
first,
liking that? Are you like, it's an interesting...
the first comic with that whole, what I just gave you, that storyline was like, wow, this is so cool. And this is like, if they made a Flashpoint movie, this would be, an amazing sequel. And if they can incorporate the Watchmen into it, holy shit. But I stopped because the next comic that came after that was like 3 months, and it was just so much new characters and filler that I'm like, I'll just wait till it all comes out.
Yeah.
And so I'm still waiting for it to all come out.
Yeah.
But
get it in one dose. Totally.
yeah. But that really got me motivated. Like, all right, I'm going to buy this series. Just like when you mentioned specific stories. Hush is my favorite comic story. Second would be Wolverine Origins, and third would be
Wait, which Wolverine Origins?
The very first run where...
Well, there was the one that they forced out when they were speculating on doing the movie. The one where they just like gave him the James Howlett name and like the...
Oh, no, this one was...
The run from the early 2000s.
Yeah, this was very early 2000s. Yeah, that run.
Yeah.
Beautiful run. I really enjoyed it. But part of it is in the film. Like him growing up on the farm, being sick all the time, is in the movie. But they go through it so fast that you can't really appreciate what is all going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a sickly kid for the longest time. But then you realize that his real father is the guy helping out on the farm, and he's the one that has a mutant gene, and he kills his dad, and then he goes crazy, and the bones come out. So all that's from that comic line, but that comic line's amazing. I love it so much.
Yeah, it looked good too.
And then Superman All-Star, I really enjoy. And then when it comes to animated films,
we talked about Reign of the Superman, like how kind of important that was when we were kids.
Yeah,
like when Superman died and they did the. I loved the animated film that they did about.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet. I saw the death.
I don't
of
think
Superman.
I've seen the second one yet. I've seen the death.
That's by the Korean people that the Korean company that do the animation, and I love some of their action sequences because they flow so well.
Do you have the DCU or the DC app?
No, I don't.
I've seen just like photos of Lobo, and it just looks so stupid.
I want to watch Doom Patrol though. I think Doom Patrol looks like a lot of fun.
What is Lobo on
things about that
Krypton?
to begin with?
I think so. Yeah. What was
I
that?
heard great things about Doom Patrol, but I haven't bought the app.
Brendan Fraser's on it, right?
Yeah.
now.
Oh, he's what, Mr.
I
Robot?
love Brendan
Or
Fraser.
no, what's his name?
I forget.
But yeah, and by the way, welcome back, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, cheers to Brendan Fraser, y'all. Welcome back, dude. We missed you.
One-time biggest earner
What's
in
the movie
box
with
office
him and
history.
Christopher
That's
Walken
right.
where he's underground for his entire childhood?
Oh, Blast from the Past.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah.
I always
Foley.
brush my teeth before I go out because of that movie. Where he's like talking to Alicia Silverstone. He has his mouth, his hand in front of his mouth. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, "I haven't brushed my teeth yet." I'm like, he's so considerate. Fuck. So
I
funny.
figured out I was old when this is before Nick McDowell was my barback. This is a while ago. I was working at Tallarico's in West Seattle.
Do we
and my
give it a nickname?
barbacks,
Do we
my
give it a
bar,
nickname?
Such good mezcal.
my
Yeah. Also, we've gone through the bottle.
nobody knows who
We're
Nick
finishing
is.
it.
So
We're finishing it.
we call him Big Dick Nick in the
Big
bar
Dick
biz.
Nick.
I had a different.
You're going to shoehorn this in, aren't
I
you?
had a barback.
You're going to
I
shoehorn
had a
this in. Here it
barback that
goes.
said Eve 6 is our generation's The Who, and he also had never seen Encino Man. So I felt like the oldest guy ever.
Yeah.
Dude, Encino Man is so good.
Oh,
So
the
good.
fact
Squeeze it, Jules.
the fact that Linkovich Chomovsky was at some point in the early 2000s the highest earner is fantastic. Thank you, Link.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man.
And yeah, Pauly Shore everywhere for like 6 years after.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Out of the army
Not
now.
aging- not
In the
aging
army
well.
now.
Yeah. Jury duty.
Jury duty.
All those gems.
He had I think he was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I like Pauly Shore. I mean,
I do too.
He
He
had
has some-
interesting back history. I mean, his mom owned the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But he talked about like when he was up and then when he was down and what that felt like. And it was really real take because you think about it like, oh, whatever happened to them?
Well, you got to expect
he's
that to
running
happen
the
to you if
comedy
you're going to
store
play
now.
like an insane character, basically, as your public persona. Like how Bob Goldthwait's dealt with it, and how I'm sure Carrot Top's weirdly dealt with it.
Yeah, he's been pumping the fuck out of iron.
Yeah, that guy is jacked.
He's dealt with it in a very particular way.
Good for him, man.
One thing though that we haven't touched on, the second cutscene in Far From Home. Skrulls, Fury,
Called
space,
it. I called
Yep.
that
sword.
shit.
You
You told me that you kind of saw that coming because you saw where it happened.
Because, and again, spoilers for Far From Home, folks. When Fury is talking to Peter, and Peter is like, why can't you get different heroes? What about Captain Marvel? And
Exactly
and
what
he
I
goes,
said.
don't invoke her name. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Who
Who says that?
When would Fury say invoke?
Yeah.
That's it. Felt like Talos.
But also Talos saying "bitch, please." I'm like, I didn't.
That was Fury. That was like,
You think that? Okay,
because he was
Fury at
mad.
that
He
point?
was mad at Peter. He's like, you have not returned my calls.
We were talking outside while you were running.
So you
late.
think they were switching back and forth?
No. It was Talos the whole time. But like,
I think Talos goes back a ways. I
Really?
think he goes back. I was telling him.
You think he was the Fury that got snapped?
I think he was the Fury in
No.
Age of Ultron.
because he wouldn't have.
That's Fury Age of.
When he shows up at Hawkeye's place on the farm and he says, "Here we all are, back on Earth." He says that line to them. Why would he say that? I mean, there's the tons of hints when people call him Nick in
That's a fucking. Deep
Yeah, but it could have been referenced to because
Captain Marvel. He says, "Nobody calls me Fury." And in Age of Ultron, he makes a sandwich and he cuts the bread diagonally. In Age of Ultron, he eats a piece of bread that's cut diagonally. When he says, "I can't eat bread that's cut diagonally," in Captain Marvel, that takes place in 1990, and he eats a fucking sandwich diagonally in Age of Ultron, and he says, "Here we are, back on Earth."
damn.
I don't know.
I need to go back and rewatch
That
these movies.
like I think I got to smoke a little bit more of this to get that deep.
But I dig that because that is fucking how deep Marvel goes with their eggs.
Well, they brought the guy from Iron Man 1
Yeah,
when
back in.
Obadiah is like, Tony Stark could
Peter
do this
Billingsley,
in a cave.
Christmas Story. Peter Billingsley, Christmas Story.
Dude, it's so cool that they
You shot your eye out and you shot it
Go
over
back
the
and
moon,
look at
Peter.
that. Look at that scene when Fury shows up in Age of Ultron, and watch him cut a fucking sandwich diagonally.
All right.
Damn.
I'll have to dive into the internet world for this.
I am duly impressed. I believe you, but I am duly impressed. That is.
I don't go discover this stuff myself. I watch miles of this
Yeah.
stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. They do all the
Yeah.
work. You reap
But
all
yeah,
the benefits.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
see
do
how
my
it
own
is.
homework in backstory. I've read miles of comic
Oh,
books.
you just.
I got my own shit to add.
I see how it works. All right. Jesus. Well, speaking of Mortal Kombat, they've
yeah.
MK11 guys.
MK11. No,
Evening
they've
Mezcal.
they.
MK11.
Thank you. Boom. They've announced that they're doing a film. I have no details on the film whatsoever. I kind of had my.
Film or series? I've heard both.
I've heard both, but right now I believe it's a film.
Who's doing it?
I prefer a series. The gentleman who directed Aquaman.
Oh,
Why am I forgetting his
James
name?
Wan.
James Wan is involved, I believe, as a producer.
Okay.
Which I'm happy to hear because Mortal Kombat.
Did he make a Fast and Furious movie?
Yes.
he
Which
did.
one did he make?
Yeah.
I believe
4?
That makes
he
sense.
did-
Tokyo Drift? I think he did Tokyo Drift.
That's 3.
That's
Okay.
3.
Man, but did he do 4? Juan was kind of like the
It was like
big
one
Who
one
made
was a long
one?
time ago and was very different, but I don't even remember the
Yeah, I
director
was in
for that
high
one.
school and
Well, the guy that made 1 came back and made a couple.
Okay.
Right?
no, I don't think.
I could be wrong.
So we'd have to look all this stuff up. But either way, so Mortal Kombat, they're going to make a movie. Great. I hope it's not a reboot. I hope it's a sequel to the 1995 film because that film is still magical and it's so much fun.
Or the sequel of the 95.
I hope it's a sequel to the 95
They
film.
did make a
It'd be
sequel
great.
to the 95.
Yeah, they
film.
already made a sequel to the 95.
We don't. No, we don't count Annihilation.
What? We
No.
don't?
No, we don't count.
That's
Why
a
don't
great
we?
movie, man.
Really?
Oh no.
No,
No.
because half the main actors from the first one aren't even in the second one.
Yeah.
Even though the characters are there.
Jack's fake arms are hysterical.
Oh my gosh! I gotta believe in myself and not use my fake arms. No, use your robotic arms. You're gonna need them in the fight.
Yeah.
That's totally against the whole narrative of your character. No, we don't like to.
No,
talk
we just
about
have a
arms.
guy in heavy prosthetics that can't move now.
Yeah. But the story mode, and you guys haven't played story mode in MK11, but it's so good. It's so well done, and they actually have performance capture where people are in suits doing the fight scenes as one takes, like John Wick style fight scenes. So then when you see it in the game, it's all stylized with the polygons and stuff, but real humans did that choreography to make it look as good as it does. So I would rather just have what we already have now with these video games. They are getting so photorealistic. Just make a series. Just make a 6-hour-long series of that stuff. Rather than try to do live action.
What they got to do is, like, we need to have a video game where, like, you can be Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, and I can be Jack Burton from fucking Big Trouble in Little China, and we can fight. And we can fight the Coreys. We can just fight whoever. Like, we can fight.
You want a Kurt Russell combat?
Yeah. I want Kurt Russell I want me to be Kurt Russell and you be Van Damme, and we'll fight. Like Van Damme from Bloodsport versus.
What would be the title of this
Snake
game?
Plissken. Fucking dude fight. I don't
Dude
know.
fight. Fucking dude fight.
What it's called?
Fucking dude fight.
Fucking Stallone from Cobra with a toothpick fighting fucking Stallone from Cliffhanger, trying to save a life.
Well, I can't tell you guys yet. I can't tell you. I'll tell you when I can though. But there's some cool stuff happening.
Are you making Dude Fight? Are you making Dude Fight?
No, I wish.
The mastermind behind Dude Fight.
Let me just say this.
We can do a kids version called Boy Fight.
Let me just say this. You are going to see a dude in Mortal Kombat DLC, and the world's going to love it.
If we guess this, can you tell us?
It's got to be a Kurt Russell character.
No.
If we guess this, can I tell from your face and not say anything?
Let's talk about Spawn.
No, it's Van Damme. It's Van Damme.
No, I can't say anything more. I can't say.
Did you see how the inflection in the voice went up?
Yo, Van Damme was the original Predator, y'all. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, that costume
Is it Ivan Drago?
Garbage.
What?
Clubber Lang. That would be sick if it was fucking Clubber Lang.
No.
With powers. Imagine Clubber Lang with powers.
Who would fit, though? Who would fit? No, you
Mr. T.
got us on this. This is happening. You got us on this riff. This is who's happening.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you off camera.
No, it's
How about
fucking
that?
Frank Dude.
Okay,
I'll
deal.
tell you not on the podcast. I'll tell you off camera.
No, I bet it's Pliskin.
I'll let you guess a couple times, but then I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
All right.
Who would fit in the Mortal Kombat universe? Like
Oh, man.
Pliskin.
Highlander.
Christopher Lambert, who already played Raiden.
Ooh.
Dude, his Instagram posts. Have you seen any of them lately?
It's gotta be funny and interesting.
give it a shot.
Dredd would be awesome.
Oh, Carl Urban?
Carl Urban
Or
as
as
Dredd
Dredd?
would be
Yeah.
fucking rad.
Well, Keith David is voicing Spawn as Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, from the
Really?
series?
From the series.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Now, I wanted Michael Jai White, but Keith David is fine. I mean, I more than fine. He's incredible.
His best line ever was in Men at Work.
What's that line? Shit.
Never touch another man's fries.
Oh, man.
Remember that?
I mean, speaking of combat,
Sadly, I know. But Keith David, I can't even do it.
he's incredible.
Keith David is just fucking lava over latex. That voice is, it's the smoothest.
I think
It's
that's the
great.
same guy.
Keith David?
So we have Nightwing, Sindel, Spawn, and Shang Tsung's already been released.
Wait,
He's
who?
a lot of fun.
Warner Brothers Games owns.
Yeah,
DC,
Warner Brothers
or
owns DC, and they own Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat now. Like,
And there
Midway's
was-
defunct, right?
Yeah, there was Midway's last game was Mortal Kombat versus DC.
How'd that go?
The story was absolute trash. Well, no, I take that back. The story was actually neat. It was cool. It was definitely worthy of a comic book and totally fit.
Neat.
The
You
voice.
described it as neat.
The voice. Well, no, it's like,
Yeah,
there's a.
you just described a Mortal Kombat story as neat.
There's always a portal. Whenever there's a portal, I'm like, okay, that's neat. What else do you got?
There's a portal and everything.
Exactly. The voiceovers were, let's say, non-union to the extreme. So I think they had like the same guy voice 4 different characters. So, but Midway went defunct after that, which is you could kind of.
It
Hey,
sounds
I'm
like- it
fine
sounds
with
like
Mark
Milo
Hamill
and
getting
Otis.
paid. I'm fine with
Oh
Mark
yeah,
Hamill getting paid.
No,
That's
I
good.
want Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I made a Milo and Otis reference.
I didn't hear it. Say it again, please, for all of us.
Okay, we're fine.
Nice. Dude, shout out again to Union Mezcal, y'all. Thank you for
Are you
sponsoring.
talking
this
about
episode.
our friend and dearly departed? I'm taking this last. I don't give a shit.
Go for
That's
it.
all you got.
Stuntman.
Don't encourage that. You got weight equipment in here. This
I
is
do.
something
I
dumb.
do. Let's keep it simple.
Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore,
Did you
dude.
incur
Yeah.
Dudley Moore?
Yeah, I made the same reference as you, as only older.
Say it again, please, because I need to know this.
Yes, I tripped over that.
Me too.
Well, that was romantic.
Thank God we're on camera for that.
And we're live. All right. The tournament's going on for Mortal Kombat. Just a quick update for everybody. It's been awesome. CEO was crazy. Sonic Fox won that one. And then Veniality just happened. And I believe Hayate from Canada won that one as well. Surprising to nobody, Katana is not one of the top characters being used in these tournaments, and yet she's my main character. However, I got to God mode or demigod in the Combat League. So I'm getting there with Katana, but I think I got to move over to Cassie. In Mortal Kombat 11, we have like tiers, like which characters we think are the best, right? They have the best amount of tools, they have the best, et cetera, et cetera. Cassie Cage, Sonya, Aaron Black, and Garrus are considered the top characters out of the 25 at the moment. Okay. My main character, Katana, is like like mid-tier. So... She's tough sometimes to get the combos with.
Now, is that based on like player base?
That's based on player base and players' opinions, like who's using who, what the top pros think are the best characters to use. So yeah,
because I haven't played Mortal Kombat for the longest time. Apologies. I like free roam. Sorry.
Apologies.
Sorry.
Apology accepted.
There you go.
Are you ramping up characters as you play? Are you giving new abilities? What's
You're not ramping up per se. You have meter, so you have offensive, defensive meter that you could use to like enhance special moves or to escape a couple scenarios. Mm-hmm. But you have a specific set of tools or a specific set of button inputs, special moves, and combos that you can do. Okay. Each character has different inputs and combos, but the relative fundamentals are the same. An overhead's going to hit you if you're blocking low. Yeah. A low's going to hit you if you're blocking high. Okay. If you're blocking and I throw, I'm going to throw you.
You've got to anticipate what's being thrown.
Exactly.
Actually, it's not just block.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to anticipate it. Okay. So there's all sorts of high levels of gameplay, which is amazing, and you have to make those decisions in real time. The reason why people put characters in different tiers is like Cassie Cage has zoning. She can fire a pistol. But not only can she fire a pistol, she can also lean down and fire her pistol from the ground. And so that gives you like, okay, she can hit high or hit low. She can cross the stage pretty quickly. She's got speed. Her hits hit pretty hard. So she's got damage. So she has all these tools that make her a really good character compared to Katana. She's got the speed and she's got the zoning, the range, but her damage is not going to be the same as Cassie. Cassie can do more damage.
Why did you pick Katana?
Because she's fucking gorgeous. And
that's it?
No, I love her play style. I love the fan play style. I like the zoning play style where I stay.
Wait, Katana's throwing fans? I thought that was the other one.
Melina throws size. That's her
It's just weird that like you're like a pretty boy, Adonis, and you're like nerding out chick.
I've noticed this with a lot of gamers. Dudes like to play as female characters because they're always kind of in third person watching.
Yeah.
And they're like, I just want to look at his female butt rather than a male butt. I'm like, okay.
Then they'll say that.
Yeah. They'll say it. Say that. I've heard that for many people that play World of Warcraft because I always played a male World of Warcraft. Like, I'm a female. Oh, why do you like playing as female? It's like, because I like looking what I look. I like looking what I'm playing with. I was like, what? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. So it's like a teenager. Now, I like playing female characters because their hitboxes are smaller. You have an advantage compared to playing a really tall dude. Shit. But I
didn't think about that. I just role play as myself. I'm like, this is what I would try and do.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that for many, many years too. But I also like kind of stepping into the shoes of a powerful princess. I like Katana's 10,000 years old. She's seen some shit. And I like her style, how she looks in the game. She looks incredible. The voice actress is Kari Wahlgren, and she's done a lot of DC movies.
You think about the backstory before you pick your fighter?
Yeah, I'm into the lore, bro. I love Mortal Kombat lore. That's Street Fighter. But shout out to Brett Beeling as well. Yeah, gear and cosmetics. So I can change the way that my Katana looks. I can change her fan colors, the different fans she wears, her different outfits, hair types. So you're like, why does it make a difference? Because I get to customize how I look online. This is my Katana that I earn.
No, I would do that shit too. Like,
it's an individual type of thing, right? You're representing yourself that way.
Yeah. Like if Marvel actually succeeded with that fighting game, like the Marvel v Capcom stuff,
Infinite,
where you could actually like
customize the look,
the look of your Captain America. I'd probably fight as Captain America. That's the one I like. Yeah. I think for that, Hulk or Captain America, which you can't customize Hulk.
Just color of pants.
Yeah, you can't make him red. That's a different dude.
You can make him Gray Hulk or.
Well, Gray Hulk's the same dude.
Gray Hulk, Red Hulk.
Red Hulk is Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go? Can we get off of Marvel? The Marvel game that's coming out?
Oh, Avengers, the Avengers video game.
Yeah. What is
my god. Yeah, that looks so stupid.
I'm like,
Wow.
I mean, I get it. They, the likeness would have cost them so much money, but also I don't give a shit about. Calm down,
MK11.
fans.
What's his name? The villain from the '95 movie is the face.
Cary Tagawa is the face and voice of Shang Tsung.
That
in
is
the game.
awesome.
It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in media. Yeah.
Why can't Marvel just look at that and go, yeah, let's do that?
Yeah. They already DH people in their movies anyways.
Yeah.
And shouldn't they just kind of realize this falls under your contract? You're already part of this. So you're just going to be in the game.
Exactly. No, it's weird. It's
also, here's an extra $10 million a piece. Just fucking voice yourself.
It's because they look so close to the movie characters, but it's not the movie characters that it's not a good decision.
Yeah.
It should have been like, make them like out in space wearing space versions of their costumes or something alternate or whatnot. Don't make it look so close to the film because all it's going to remind me is like, wow, those films are so great. I'd rather be watching the films than playing this game.
I would wager it's a budget roll of the dice there. Like, it would cost a fucking fortune to get the likenesses for all these people.
But
they did it in the Spider-Man games back in the day with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and everybody. But
that was a different time.
yeah, it was. Yeah, when nobody took video games seriously.
Except
the gamers. Except the gamers.
You're going to be on N64. You have 16 lines of dialogue that we're going to repeat.
Those first
over and over.
PlayStation Spider-Man games were actually pretty good. I played a lot of those games.
Bruce Campbell would narrate them.
Yeah,
It'd be the tutorial for it too.
Stan Lee's voice was all over them.
Yeah,
they only had to pay one or two people.
The True Believers thing was always there.
True. Brett mentioned that Disney killed Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom used to have all of the Marvel characters. You had all the X-Men. You had Captain America. Anybody from the MCU, Iron Man, all that stuff. But now they can't have X-Men in the latest Marvel vs. Capcom video game because Fox owns that or all this other stuff. So
is that what happened?
Yeah, that's why you didn't. That's why Marvel vs.
Fox
Capcom
still retain the video game rights.
Yeah, at that time, which is dumb.
So now that Marvel owns the rights across, it'll probably come back.
Hopefully, I mean, we all would love to see a next Marvel vs. Capcom that has all those characters, but I think it's just going to be up to Rights.
I think that's got to be pretty interesting litigation, kind of going back to when they sold all that stuff, when Marvel almost went bankrupt, when they sold off the rights. Marvel retained all the merchandising rights. All the toys that Marvel put out were still like animated film or TV because of the X-Men series and Spider-Man series.
We got all those Toy Biz fucking toys.
The Toy Biz stuff. They retained all all the TV and toy rights, and then I feel like video games should fall into toy rights, so that had to have been litigated at some point.
It was litigated differently, but this is what happened with the Witcher series, which is one of the best video game RPGs of all time.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I agree.
The author was paid, the licensing fees, but he's like, I should have got a lot more money. It's like, yeah, but you didn't give a shit about video games when you sold it, man. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. You made a mistake. But then CD Projekt Red came back and was like, hey, we paid him handsomely, all right, and he's still involved if he wants to be involved. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if they said that, but they came back and said, we paid him for the licensing rights.
Stan Lee set the standard on that. Like, if it's your shit, you get 10% of it. Like, that's the bottom line. If it's your shit, you get 10%,
and I get to be in every fucking movie.
Yeah, it's great. I
mean, Jack Nicholson did that with the Joker. Every time Batman happens, Jack Nicholson wets his beak.
Really?
Seriously, that's how deep that fucking deal went. Every time a Batman movie gets paid, Jack Nicholson gets a fucking check hammered.
Damn. Then another tidbit from my buddy Brett. Even with the Avengers, they were overprotective of their IP, so that to a point that you couldn't even beat up Marvel characters in promos. Like, you couldn't see them getting beat up by the Capcom guys.
Damn. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah. Shout out to Brett, dude. He's the man. Killing it over there in Germany. That's a tough part about having all the different licensing and whatnot. I mean, even Sony, it's why Sony still has a piece of Spider-Man, because Marvel sold them the film rights as long as they kept making films, which is why the whole Amazing Spider-Man thing happened. At the end of the day, the lesson learned is you just hold on to your shit, especially people that are artists right now, like, well, I don't own my masters, so I don't get paid shit on Spotify. Well, boo-hoo, buddy. You should have owned your masters, and that way you'd get paid on Spotify. I mean, that's how that shit works. Don't sell your masters.
Do you think if whoever's doing the next Bill and Ted movie dumped all that cash into a Bill and Ted video game, it might be better for the property?
What would you do in the video game? Would it be like Rock Band, but
who fucking knows?
Better?
It could be like semi-linear, semi-open. You know? Like,
you'd have to combine it.
We have source material.
It'd be open world Rock Band.
We have Earth, Heaven, and Hell from the second movie, and we have time travel in the first movie. So you have a crazy, weird version of open world that you
got to
can
go
build
back
a
to the
video
Wild
game
West
around.
and teach Billy the kid to fucking play some guitar, and then we're gonna go into the future. And guess what? You're Billy. So
I think it'd be a great adventure game. We saw some great adventure games before Telltale went defunct, especially with Back to the Future. They made a game that they had the same producers of the film. They had the voice actors. They had the actors come back. Christopher Lloyd.
Telltale's really kind of just.
But this was one of
the only video game you can play while cooking.
Sure, it is, but that's a
like I'm making a
Yeah, find the clock. Okay, I'll be back at 30 minutes. Come back. Oh, it's right there. Click. Yeah, point and click adventure game. Sure,
you can do chores but
the narrative was fun. The narrative was fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
And it's more about the story and the narrative to get you to a place.
Like the Batman Enemy Within.
Yeah,
series was good.
When he's just like, it turns out my dad was actually part of a criminal underground. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to be part of that Batman story. I'm sure it was great. I played the first one, but the sequel to Enemy Within, I was like, I don't want to. Nothing against Telltale. Rest in peace, Telltale Games. But there's just so many Batman stories I want to go through in a year.
Never forget.
Pattinson.
Thomas Wayne, a fucking bad guy.
Yeah. Yo, what were they? There was hints of the guy that played Negan in Walking
Jeffrey
Dead.
Morgan?
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Thomas Wayne. I think that'd be a great fit.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was already Thomas Wayne in...
he was in the Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
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 And wasn't he also the Thomas Wayne figure in... God damn it, Zack Snyder. Now it's crossed over.
300. Comedian?
Yeah, that's...
Yes, yeah.
But no, well, yeah. He was comedian. That's right.
In The
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Yeah. I got that mixed up. You're right.
He was also the dad of the two boys in Supernatural.
Oh,
the show on CW that should have ended seasons ago and is still alive. Yeah.
He's also confused for Ant-Man's dad.
Ant-Man's dad?
Kid's dad. Stepdad.
Stepdad. Oh, yeah.
Often confused for that
I thought he always got more confused with Anton Sugar. Because, shit.
Mezcal, let's go.
Mezcal.
That's why I'm here. We're keeping the train rolling. Mm-hmm. All right, this is the last of it? All right, shoot.
I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't? Well, cheers to me.
Well, you got to hold this thing together.
Yeah,
We're just
I got to hold it.
Yeah, this is your show.
I got to hold it.
Yeah.
All right, well, so we're 2 hours in,
I'm
boys.
just gonna like this.
Really?
Yeah, we're 2 hours in.
Okay.
We succeeded. I made you get drunk on your podcast.
Yeah, I haven't had this much alcohol in a little while, so thanks.
I also didn't realize that we had a standing talk here. Thanks. I can't read this because...
Don't worry, I was in the Air Force.
People are watching this?
Yeah. This is live, bro.
We got live.
It's live. I don't edit
Is
this
there
shit.
anything out there that we didn't talk about, or that you want to know? Because this is curious.
No, people were giving us some shout-outs, and also if we've done talking about spoilers.
Where'd you get that dynamite hat?
Yeah, where'd you get that dynamite hat?
Oh, it's a one-off because I
it
had
is.
cancer, and the guys at the bar love me, and so they know my love of the Oregon Ducks. So green and yellow, everybody. Go Ducks.
Nice.
Yeah. Why aren't you wearing your hat, repping?
I was going to. I was actually going to wear the new T-shirts that we made for the BUIC, but I
shit,
figured
we
you
should
might
have
be
done
wearing
that.
something too.
I just wore a hat because I was like,
denim
yeah,
on denim.
Nichols is going to wear something from the bar. Of course, he's
I
good.
thought
Yeah.
Josh might not recognize me if I wasn't wearing denim.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to recognize me without a mustache or any type of facial hair.
I am offended that you don't have a mustache.
It's my summer look, dude.
Okay, question.
It's my summer look.
Personal here.
Yeah.
It is. I'm ready to start Scummer 2019, so I'm thinking about losing the sides, keeping just the ungrown shitty stuff here.
Really?
Get in the center. Oh yeah, going as
Right in
much
the center?
handlebars as can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely. I'm thinking about doing it early, but it's definitely having it at the end of the month when I have to go start driving tour band for the Duke Evers on the West Coast tour. Go see them, LA, all the
Nice.
places.
Wait,
Nice.
okay, so sorry, going back to what we were talking about outside before this even started, which is awesome. Stranger Things Volume 3. You stopped when?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! You stopped?
I stopped right when the redheaded child was
Max?
talking to I forget her name, Billy's
Max.
younger sister.
Max.
Max, thank you.
Max.
I apologize. Max.
Maxine.
I should know. Is talking to Millie Bobby Brown's character, Elle, about Mike not calling her back. And he's like, well, he treated you like garbage. You have to treat him like garbage. And I went, nope. I don't want to watch a soap opera of a bunch of kids who've saved the universe twice.
How far are you into this?
Oh, I finished it.
but
also, That's true. That's how fucking we are as little children and teenagers. Like, that is
What
so
did I say?
fucking accurate.
What did I say?
I know, and I'm not saying you're not accurate. I just didn't want to watch that
How
at
good
that
is
time.
Lucas's little sister in that?
Oh, shit. I hated her. She's so good.
Yeah.
She's just like on point of, I am fucking brains and fuck you.
Fuck
you're
you,
dorks.
nerds.
And doesn't realize, like, oh, shit, I'm a nerd too. Also, spoilers. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Go see that shit.
I'll get to it. I just stopped because I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this right now. But if it was a first season type of thing, I'm like, okay, these are the kids, I get it. But because they had already been through so much, I was like, really? You guys are gonna dick around with being boyfriend girlfriend with this stupid games? You almost died twice. Like, I would be enjoying every second moment, which is why I liked at the beginning is like, they're just making out, and they're kids.
Spoiler on this.
Spoilers,
one too, by the way.
Spoilers for the first
talking about-
episode and a half of Stranger Things. But
I might respond to what you're saying.
Sure.
So I have
so
to.
just the opening emotions I had was, oh, okay, it's Harper trying to put limits or boundaries. Cool. This is neat. They've saved the world. Now they're lovey-dovey. How can they still be responsible about it? Cool. I kind of like that approach. Oh, now the kids are going to get involved. Oh, now it's going to be he said, she said. Now it's going to be the game of telephone, and they're going to be sorry later. It's like, I don't want to watch that narrative again. But
is it because
okay.
it took you back to your childhood?
Yeah, it took me back to my current dating life right now. That's why I didn't like it.
How much did you love Steve the Hair Harrington in this season?
Dude,
oh, Steve.
He's
the gem.
so good.
He's the reason why I finished season 2.
I can't wait
All right?
for him to end up in the MCU or end up in some kind of other
All right,
property
speculation.
like that.
Who's Steve Harrington playing in the MCU?
Oh, Johnny
Ooh.
Storm right there.
Whoa.
That's
Okay.
Johnny Storm, man.
With
That's
that,
a pretty good one.
With that drop, we got a couple questions in coming from
Oh,
chat. Shout out to Bryce Tyson joining us. So, Brett, if you had 3 movies on a desert island, what do you bring with you?
Ooh.
3 films on a desert island.
Fucking
I know
generator
one
so
for
I
sure.
can figure out a way to watch the
Absolutely,
movies.
I know one for sure. That's always on that list, and it's Big Trouble in Little China.
Such a classic.
Like, there's nothing more than like just meaningless things happening to these characters, and you see it from their point of view, and you're still on board. Like,
Is this a
you
question
go on
for
this
all of
ride.
us or just one of us?
All
by
of
the
you,
way?
all of you,
Okay.
all of you.
First one, layer cake.
Ooh, I like that. That's
Daniel
interesting.
Craig, yeah.
Daniel
Yeah,
Craig.
I like that.
Got him the Bond, and just so damn repeatable.
Oh, we should just rotate this around.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, first one for me would be Tron Legacy. Yeah.
Explain.
The visuals and Olivia Munn to keep me occupied for a while. Or not Olivia Munn, Olivia Wilde to keep me occupied for a while. I'm not saying it's the best movie, but
I feel like there's more adult movies that would keep you occupied with Olivia
It would
Wilde,
keep me
by the way.
entertained. Oh, sure.
Okay.
But I like her in that sci-fi outfit the
It is
most. I like her.
long.
Yeah.
It's like time passed.
No, I like what that film could have been. It could have been better, but the core of
Could have
it.
been good.
Wow, fighting words. The core of it was about creation and creationism.
Yeah.
And what that actually means, especially when the universe can be so random. And what was random? The ISOs were created randomly, and it was this new life. I was like, oh, this is deep shit. And then it was like, oh, it's just going to be an action film now. We're going to
Did you
escape.
see the Nicolas Cage Left Behind vehicle?
Left Behind? Yes. Yeah. No, wait. Left Behind was a Christian book series
I've
that I
actually
read
read
all of them, and I
read all of
watched every movie except the one that came out with Louis Gossett Jr.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the
Yeah, the Kirk Cameron one. Yeah,
I've seen only one of those.
But then you just reminded me. You
made a Nicolas Cage version of it.
Reminded me that there's a
that was
Nicolas
next.
Have you
Cage
seen these?
version of this, and I've never seen it.
I've read all the books. I'm an atheist.
They're books.
Me too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Written by Tim LaHaye
and Terry
some-
Jenkins. Something
Jenkins. Yeah. By the way, it's all bullshit. But keep going.
Yeah. And then like these two dudes that write them, they have this like almost Joss Whedon way of giving everybody an absurd fucking first name. Too. Like people's names are like Buck and I can't remember anybody's name but Buck.
I can't remember.
It's a
either.
very Buffy the
Just
like,
Buck.
it's a very Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of named out thing.
Okay.
And it's the rapture happens. Sorry, I'm gonna put this out. The rapture happens, and then
I gotcha.
we start from an airplane pilot realizing why he didn't get raptured.
Yeah, one of the top
Wait.
50 People's
Spoil
Magazine's
this
top
fucking
50
thing.
sexiest men in the world. I forget the actor's name, but they made that a thing in the behind the scenes video on the DVD. Like, he's top 50 sexiest men in the world. I'm like, well, that's cool. Sorry. Anyways,
like in the book series, they go on this like. Really,
Brett Beeling, shout out to you. Good night, dude.
It's a long-winded journey into fighting the Antichrist as the Antichrist unfolds. It's absurd.
Carpathia.
Yeah, it's fucking absurd.
Yeah, it's the whole
So
evangelical
Got it.
version of the end of the world. There you
pretend
go.
God blessed us with Nicolas Cage for a film adaptation of this
Pretend?
novel.
Pretend God.
Yeah, obviously there's God because Nicolas Cage played the pilot.
Thank you. And
Well, first Kirk Cameron played him, right? Or did he play
Kirk
Buck?
Cameron played Buck the reporter.
The Buck the reporter.
Anyways, back in my Mormon days and my Christian
I'm stoned in
days,
this-
yeah.
Stupid.
It was. Here's how it went down. Nikolai Carpathia was the first cloned human because of his mother did this genetic research project. Therefore, he was inhabited by the devil to become the Antichrist. The Antichrist wanted to create this global community. This global community was part of this revelation from the Bible that the beast was going to take over using these numbers. Eventually, Nikolai Carpathia becomes the president of the world, and they start putting computer chips in people's hands, and you had to wear this specific number, and if you didn't, you get the guillotine. Then all these other little things would happen, like locusts would come from the ground and infest people, and Nikolai Carpathia would be like, oh, it's just the believers, it's fake news, it's all fake, blah, 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 until Jesus comes back, wipes them all out, and then they all get resurrected, and this
Did
guy...
you sell these
and then-
books?
No, this guy has two wives, one that was raptured, and then he married this other chick named Amanda. And then when his wife's resurrected, they're like all smiling and trying to figure it out. And I'm like, what the fuck is all of this supposed to mean? That's what all the books are about.
Comic
Hold
book,
on,
comic book
no.
crossover.
Yeah.
it's a shame your mic is on a swing arm right now because you should have fucking dropped that goddamn thing.
Well, when you were religious for 16 years and you lived and breathed the Bible and the Book of Mormon and Doctrine and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price, you knew your shit. I was a missionary in LA for 2 years. Compton, Watts, South Central, Venice Beach, Inglewood, Linwood, and Culver City, knocking on doors, talking about Jesus. And let me tell you, folks, Jesus probably never existed, and there's no such thing as religion. All right? I feel I have absolute authority to tell people about that. But I try not to be a dick about it, because when people would tell me about that stuff when I was religious, they'd be like, oh, you're trying to oppress me, or, oh, you know what, I have my faith, and I have all these good experiences, and it's because of God. No, it's because of you and how you evolved as a human. That's it. Could there be a consciousness out there? Possibly. Possibly. There could maybe be something out there, but it's not some bearded dude in the sky who told the Israelites that they were supposed to sacrifice animals for the longest time until he sent his son to come stop sacrifices and then become the savior. Okay? Off my tangent. Thank you.
Union Mezcal, everybody. Probably not as atheist as Josh.
Union Mezcal. Thank you. There you go.
I don't know. This is a small time. I can't. You can't.
That's an $18 mic I bought on Amazon.
no.
Don't drop it.
No, not
Do everything
no.
I can. No, Matt and I have had some good little talks about this because I'm relatively new to the atheism world.
New to the
Well, new. No, it's 7 years now. 7 years I've been an atheist, I
way
would
to
say.
pass the corruption on to me.
Yeah, there you go.
I made this because of that guy.
No, way before I met you. But there's still beauty in the stories that can be told, which is why Left Behind is so crazy to have Nicolas Cage be a part of it. Yet, oh, hey, what if half the Earth's population disappeared? How would humanity
Dude,
react?
let's write a crossover comic with the Left Behind dudes and the Celestine Prophecy dudes. We'll just have like
Wow.
a civil war. We'll have
Yeah.
a civil war arc between metaphysics and fucking hard Christianity.
You know how much money those guys got off those books?
Oh my God.
I mean, just a shit ton.
You can say the same thing about the what's his name? Redfield.
F-
Redfield wrote
Redfield?
the Celestine Prophecy shit. That's worshipped by people, and it's like an atheist metaphysics shit.
We give the
Like-
Book of Mormon out for free, but we expect tithing
Yeah,
from the
there's
members. That's how they
fucking
keep it alive.
There's con men everywhere. They're in
There
your
are.
fucking. They're in your newspaper.
You
That's
guys,
like
you guys, you want to hear my super secret plan? By the time I'm 40, I want to make a either mini series or multiple season series of Joseph Smith. Like what actually happened. The dude convinced people to pay him to go look in their backyards for treasure using a stone. And he used that same stone to translate golden plates into new scriptures and started a church that became one of the most powerful institutions in the entire world.
That would be an amazing miniseries.
It's fucking crazy.
That'd be an amazing miniseries.
There is...
If they treated that gritty, that would be.
Oh, it would be
yeah,
gritty and real.
yeah.
Like I would show him cheating on his wife with Fanny Alger in the barn, and she's a 14-year-old, and he's in his late 20s.
Yeah, you got to get.
All right, the whole polygamy thing,
Yeah.
like all that stuff was just
Sam Adams miniseries.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Upstate New York, but it's more, I want it to be just not only about Joseph Smith, but the reflection of why people wanted to latch onto faith so strongly.
Wide casting for people with dirty fingernails.
But in that time in America,
Yeah.
but the reason why is because there was these unanswered questions in the American experience. One, where did all these mound builders come from? These Native Americans come from, which Mormonism explains they were ancient Israelites. Two, what happens to my
Mormonism is intense.
Did we get
Yeah.
into sword though? By the way,
We will. We'll go right into sword after this. I'm going to finish this tangent
How
here real
far
quick.
into this
But this
are
is
we?
why. But this is why stories are so important. If a story could keep people within a faith to pay a 10% of their income for the most of their life, that's a pretty powerful story, right? So the story was, where did Native
I
Americans
think
come from?
Scientology costs more than that.
It does. It does, which is why Mormonism is more popular.
That's good.
What happens to my kid if my kid died before they were baptized, or if anybody died before they were baptized? Mormonism answers that. They go, oh, it's a fair system. God's fair. That's why we have baptisms for the dead and the temples. We can baptize for anybody that's ever lived on this planet. What happens to like all the Chinese people that never heard about Christ? Same thing. They're going to get a fair shot. So Mormonism is able to answer all the questions of the American frontier of the 1800s that the Bible couldn't answer. And that's what religion tends to do every time it's recreated or remanifests itself. It tends to answer the questions that people have at the time that their current faith or their current structure can't answer for them. And that's how new stuff gets created.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're moving beyond religion. We've already seen a post-religion world in Europe. We're starting to see that in America more and more and more. I'm not saying there shouldn't be religion. People should have the freedom to believe whatever the fuck they want and practice whatever they want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. But the way people can form a narrative around it and make things fit into it, like canonically with the MCU, you have to make everything fit into what you've already made.
Well, I got a question for you.
Well, that's what Mormonism has done. Like every new science that happens, they fit into Mormonism still. But go ahead.
Are you able to speak that kind of eloquently about it, and do you know that much about it, and can you just articulate that well because you have
Lived it?
No, because you learned it when you were practicing it, or do you have a narrative you want to serve so you do your homework in order to be able to argue it? Like, is there a motive behind it?
Yeah. The motive in the church was, I want to become like God. The motive outside the church is, I want to learn truth and live it.
So you did live it.
Oh, I lived
historically.
it.
So
Yeah.
that there is like that energy behind it. Not that you wanted to arm yourself to argue atheism, because that's still.
But I think, but it's the empathy that I have for people that still believe, is I understand why they believe. Because for me, it was so difficult to separate, how do I have all these amazing experiences and amazing friendships and going on my first couple dates and all these things?
A stoner argument.
That we are, and this is exactly why I wanted to do this. Why? How can I separate all these amazing experiences that I have from the doctrine? And that was one of the toughest things, because anytime anybody would attack the doctrine, I felt they were attacking all the good things that I had because of the church. But when I was able to separate that and understand, like, no, you're a human. You've evolved. You've gone through all these things. Your parents raised you and your 3 siblings on their own. There was no magnificent power that was helping them and not helping the kids in Africa that are fucking dying from starvation every day.
So even when you were practicing, you were probably an atheist when you were practicing.
Because
you were always in that mindset.
Because I kept asking those questions, and that's why Mormonism could answer it. It's
most people that are atheists are kind of...
People are suffering in Africa, but don't worry, they're going to get a fair shot, and everything's going to be made fair in the millennium.
You don't really convince people to be atheists. They just...
if they fall into it. Yeah. They keep asking questions that they can't find the satisfactory answers to until they do. I mean, it was quite a journey for me, because I really put everything I had into the church and into my faith.
That's why I don't got a speech or anything for atheism. There's no point.
But I think what's tough for some people is they feel atheism is so glib. They're like, well, if there's nothing, then what's the point of anything? If you understand how rare life is and what it took for us to get here, even from a molecular level, you will appreciate every day that you have.
Yeah.
And that's where I got to that point of, well, if I don't have this moral compass of faith, how do I guide myself? I know, just be. But also to have empathy with other people and realize that empathy is built in because of the tribal nature of being human, and I'd much rather help people around me or people around me being in a good spot, in a good state, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, just have some fucking manners.
Have some fucking manners.
Yeah.
And I think it's much better and stronger, and this is where I'll get in contention with religious people, is I have manners not because I'm going to be rewarded for it in heaven someday. I have manners because I just think it fucking matters today. I think, you know what? I know when somebody's rude to me and it makes me feel like shit. So I'd rather just be nice to you and not do that.
It's not hard to be good. It's not.
Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys letting me have that drunk high tangent. I feel I really,
that was a good one.
I really hit that crossfade perfectly, bros. I really hit that crossfade. Yeah. So we're gonna keep this on the YouTubes for sure.
Yeah, you knocked that one out of the park.
But you were gonna jump into something, man.
Sword.
So let's wrap up the conversation about the nerd stuff. Sword. How long has Nick Fury been up there? I think he just went on vacation after Endgame. Like, yo, we just saved the world. I need to take a fucking break. Talos, you owe me.
Age of Ultron, man. That's not him.
That's some deep shit.
Yeah.
I want you to create proof of this. Show me
You watch it yourself, man.
We got another question from Jim Anderville a little bit later, but
in the same scene that he eats a fucking diagonally cut sandwich, he says, "We're back here on Earth." He says that.
I wholeheartedly believe you. I just need to see it.
We got to jump into these YouTube videos that you're watching to jump this stuff down. But
all right,
we got to finish the movies that we need to watch in our desert island. So let's do that.
Yeah.
And let's do the question.
One each.
Yeah, you guys stop me. You guys stop me at Tron and the creationism, and then I went on this full tangent. So you can see, so everybody can see why Tron Legacy means something to me.
Yeah.
It's because I think about all that stuff when I watch that shit, and it's with the dude, you know. So it could have been way better, yes, but
it was great.
It puts me in a state where I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. Anyways,
that was great.
So movie 2 and 3, Desert Island. What would you take?
Okay,
go ahead.
Thank you. 2 and damn it!
All right, Jim Anderville will get to your question after that, and then we'll start wrapping up the show here.
Jim
Anderville, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Josh. Do you have a 2 or 3?
The Empire Strikes Back, no question. And then if I had to be a third, and I can't do like a full trilogy, I would do the Two Towers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two Towers.
I so want to do Return of the King, but I just love
I got a whole thing about the end of that movie. Like, they left the spider thing for the third movie, but we're in the book. End of the Two Towers was
because it fit the movie narrative better.
Frodo is alive was a thing.
Peter Jackson talks about this, why they did it.
Oh man, that was a big thing for me as a fan of the novels. That was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
That was culturally that was a thing.
Well, I know. Thing. Yeah, because we were all miffed about that first. It was like, oh, what a great cliffhanger we could have if people thought Frodo was dead and Sam is the next one.
Yeah.
But then Peter Jackson's like, because there wouldn't be enough for them to do.
Frighteners is
in
the best movie ever. Movie. I love that movie.
Oh, is Gary Busey in that movie?
Jake Busey is in that movie.
Jake Busey. Yeah. Jake Busey is in Stranger Things.
He's the heavy.
He's in Stranger Things. Yeah.
I love Jake.
I
love Jake.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So those would be my 2. What was my 2? What would be your guys' 2?
Shit, dude. Come on.
Ghostbusters, definitely.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbusters for sure.
I want to put... Sorry. Hit that.
Oh shit! It's got to be something like heavy sci-fi, like because I got like kind of light comedy on 1 and 2, so it's got to be something kind of rich. Probably Empire.
Okay. Empire is such a beautiful film, so good.
I don't know, like all sci-fi, depending on where we are socially, everything feels pretentious one way or another, or. It kind of like everything kind of volleyballs back and forth, whether it feels pretentious or kind of on the nose where we are. So, David Lynch's Dune didn't play in certain parts of the '90s. Now it's cool, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're getting a new Dune. I'm excited for that.
I'm in on that, but I'm gonna put The Expanse 3 series as my third because that I'm really totally into. Right,
Fedoras in the future.
for a season.
People, men are gonna go back to wearing hats. I think.
Yeah.
we're gonna get rid of the beard soon, and we're gonna go back to wearing hats in
It's
the
better
2020s.
than Mylar jumpsuits. Like, there's no point where we're gonna stop wearing jeans.
Yeah. All right. Jumping to the next question. Okay. When we finally get Howard the Duck remake, should they keep the duck boobs?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
That's
It's
that's
only
like, that's
It's
the
part of
funniest part of that
it's
movie.
part of the anatomy.
Yeah, that's a PG-13 movie
part
with
of the
duck
comedy.
tits in it.
they're duck breasts. It's fine.
Also, her bass guitar case, when he says Cleveland, she's carrying a bass guitar case, has a Misfit sticker on it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I remember that from when I was a kid.
You're just nothing but deep cuts today, dude.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Cleaving them. God damn. Well, thanks, Jay Manderville, for the question. Folks, we're at 2 hours and 22 minutes. I think it's getting close to wrap.
Yeah,
I gotta smoke
yeah.
cigarettes.
All right. Mr. Hastings, feel free to plug anything you'd like to plug.
Shit.
What's your
mostly,
what's
mostly
your
lights
social-
in and out of a wall.
Yeah.
Controller sockets into headphones. Yeah. No, it's social media. Fucking at beef_suplex.
Beef suplex, folks, one of the best.
And I've got if you're Four Loko fans, at Thomas Hate is a dedicated Four Loko Instagram dumb account. So send them out.
Dope.
That's it.
Thank you for joining me, Stuntman. All right. Hey, we did it, man. You and I said this would happen.
Fucking A.
And it happened. Manifested it. Any final shout-outs? Where can people follow you? All that jazz.
Just Instagram. Matt N does stuff. It was Matt Nichols does stuff. I shortened it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well done. Welcome
That's
to
it.
the social media world.
Yeah.
Cool. And
Tomorrow I'm judging SIP Northwest Magazine's Best of the Northwest. So the magazine will come out September-ish. So you'll find Northwest Spirits. We're all going to go taste everything. I'll probably taste 50 things tomorrow. So
damn.
my tongue will be dead before I go to work.
Have fun.
And also,
Yeah.
thank you, Union Mezcal.
Yes.
Screwdriver Bar.
Screwdriver Bar,
Belltown Yacht Club.
Belltown Yacht Club. Come see shows.
Yeah.
And also, thank you, Josh.
Oh, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
man.
guys. We're going to have to do another episode. Again, this is a lot of fun. Again, Matt Nichols, Stuntman Hastings, thank you for joining me. And again, Mezcal Union, thank you for sponsoring this episode. Yeah. You can follow me on all social media, Mr. Joshua Gray. I'm currently working on a J.Gray report right now. I wanted to just do kind of a long-form essay about Game of Thrones, not be part of the whole hate train for the last season, which, yeah, we're all disappointed, but actually how Game of Thrones really changed streaming. Game of Thrones made streaming a necessity in the realms of HBO and other people, and they really pushed why piracy was a big deal, because you had to make a better service for the pirates, and eventually HBO did that. So it's going to go into how Game of Thrones really changed technology and the way we view things, because you can find plenty of videos on goddamn how D&D screwed everything up. Mr. Josh Gray and all the social media, as I mentioned before, and Battle for Seattle. So currently working on the graphics package right now. Most likely, it's going to happen in the fall for the first two tournaments. I'm going to do one on the Xbox and one on the PlayStation 4, $250 each, open signups for anybody for Mortal Kombat 11, and then we'll go from there. Not sure if I'm going to be doing anything at PAX West coming around Labor Day weekend. We'll see. But in the meantime, I'll probably stream a couple video games here and there and have some fun. Huge thank you again to my guests, and stay tuned for another J.Gray podcast right around the corner. Until next time, good night and good game.